Hello.
Now, testing.
Hi,
Hello.
Paul.
Morning. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Good. We're just streaming already, Paul, so we'll unmute yourselves and get closer. So
How's the ticker working?
Ticker's working good, and I is good today. It's been a little bit up and down. Had some inflammation flare up on it when they tried to adjust down my medication. So ended up being back in Rocky View for the better part of yesterday. But
Oh,
they got the medications adjusted, and the eye this morning is feeling okay. So it does tend to still fatigue sometimes and flare up, but hopefully I'll be good through the meeting here.
well, if you need to turn off your viewing, I think that's allowed, but you need to, and close your eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah, if I need
we
to,
won't think you're
Rest them.
sleeping.
Yeah.
yeah, that actually is something I need to do sometimes. So if I do have to do that, I'll just turn off the video so it doesn't so you can't tell whether I'm sleeping or not anyway. Might still be sleeping, but at least you won't know.
you've got an advantage. There's other counselors that are just there.
There you go.
Hey, to whom are you referring?
No, I have watched council meetings where their eyes are closed. There's a guy with eyes closed and he's still sitting there. You'll see it. We're gonna try to do a transcribe through Zoom too, so I give that a go.
What does that mean?
Using
Oh, it writes it.
yeah, so that we can make sure that we're collecting everything, because
Oh, okay.
we want to make sure that the resolutions are getting clearer when you guys talk, and it's getting hard for us in dictation typing, so we're gonna try a new approach. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Using technology, love it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yes.
Is that similar to like what we were hearing at the conference there? I think it was Hannah that was doing that.
Well, look at that. It actually caught everyone.
Oh, yeah, it's accurate.
Uh-oh, okay. Now I got to watch what I say.
Yes.
So
No swearing, Paul.
make
I
your
can't just say-
resolutions clear.
I just
guys.
can't say that's a hoax that I said that in the meeting. That's not true.
So now when you guys make your resolution, it should pick it up.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Okay, we just about ready to go live?
Yeah, we are.
9:30 on the dot.
Yep,
Okay.
we're already streaming, so go.
Okay, call to order at 9:30 on the dot. Okay, looking at the agenda, we've had a chance to review it. Any new things need to put on there? Any corrections, any additions?
I'll adopt the agenda as printed.
Okay,
Oh, you got something new?
Just to advise that I have received email that your delegation will unfortunately unable to attend.
okay. Okay. I don't think that, yeah.
Doesn't affect that.
Doesn't
agenda.
affect it. Okay, motion to adopt, yeah.
That's presented.
As presented, yeah.
And the previous minutes, we had two meetings, both the regular and the joint council. I read them over. I don't have any comments on them. Anything there, Paul, or?
No, I looked through everything. Everything seems straightforward. No additions or corrections.
Okay, move to adopt previous minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, all in favor, yeah. Public hearing, none. Delegation, none. In
But
attendance,
can I get
but
one
we
clarity?
still wanna.
Could I get one clarity? On that motion, was that for the October 20th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes that was the motion for, and then you should do a second.
Okay, we should do two minutes, okay? So
Okay.
motion for the first regular and then second motion.
Okay,
The
I
first
made
one's
that
passed.
motion. I made the motion for the first regular meeting, then like the last month's council meeting.
Okay, and then I'll make the motion to accept the second one, the joint.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, didn't mean to rush it through. Public hearings again, nothing that I can tell, and the delegation is not going to attend. Now, do we address that anywhere else, the written response, or do we?
It is in your agenda, but
I I would suggest that we go through the information that's
And
there
go through it. Okay,
but
Correct.
as part of this one, or do we want to leave it for where it comes up in the?
You could go
Just-
through the information now and do a motion to move it to your.
Yeah, it is in the package at this point, so we should probably just
yeah,
address it.
just leave it as it is.
Okay, so we received a couple letters. The one was just thanking us for the decision and that as well. Was there not one, or is it just an email?
There was one earlier.
The email.
It's an email,
It's an email.
and that's all been paid. The
Everything's
others
taken
have-
care of?
Yeah, and then we are actually have a reimbursement check because since your resolution one had paid and we are.
And
sending them
everybody
back.
else is paid and it's all.
Yeah,
okay.
we're just waiting, I think, on to pay.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So they have until the 23rd of this month, I think, whatever the date of the invoice was, I think September 23rd, so they have until the 23rd of this month before it goes penalties and then goes on to the tax rolls.
Okay, and as far as this letter, do we want to go through it, or what do we want to do with
I don't
this?
know that we need to go through the letter itself. It'll be posted on the website. Invoices are there. So everybody can read it if
Yep.
they choose to. Thank you for the clarifications on the insurance.
Yep.
So that is exactly what I had found out as well, when I made some inquiries that property cannot, like land cannot be insured, only property can.
Yep.
And if there is damage on the land, then it goes through your liability policy. So we've got all of that. So we know the insurance coverage is adequate and is correct by the municipalities. So I guess the only takeaway for this is to address address the residents' concerns. My feelings on that is I can only go by the official fire report. When I look at the pictures and everything else, lit cigarette thrown,
We don't.
I don't know. My other question is, why isn't the grass burnt then? Like there's just so many questions and so many unknowns. If for me, I think the only thing that I can do is go by what the initial fire report was and what our bylaw says, and that's the decision that I have to make.
Correct.
Well, whether it's correct or not, I don't know, but
No,
that's the decision that I have to make. There are so many other things that could have sparked a fire in that. I mean, it could be something as simple as somebody threw out a glass bottle and the sun went through it and ignited it. Like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And so that's my druthers. Paul.
Yeah. I think I agree with you, and I think we have a choice as well. Like we can accept this as information, and we don't have to act on this letter specifically. I think it's wise to do it, but I think there is a lot of speculation in this letter. You're right. We have the official fire report to go on. We have our bylaws that are in place that we consulted on how to deal with this. And I think we can just respond, we appreciate you expressing your opinion on it. Our decision from the October meeting stands, and we have not changed our mind on it. We could just leave it at that, I think, because I don't see anything on here that makes me change my mind. The only thing I come out of it thinking is when we're reviewing it is just to review the bylaw, just to make sure that the wording is clear as to, how we handle these types of situations.
It was interesting when I was reviewing the bylaw that it talked about negligence of the village. And in this case, there was no there was no mowing going on that day. There was no nothing. So just as much as what the homeowners are saying, well, we weren't home, well, we weren't there either. So how it started, no one knows.
And that's what the fire department said as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can I
do we
just,
need a motion?
I would prefer a motion as kind of what you said, Paul.
Yeah.
If you could put that in a motion, then we would
Okay.
just.
All right, I'll give it a try and see how it looks when it's transcribed. So, motion to respond to the resident saying, we've reviewed her email and thank you for expressing. We have council has chosen or has decided to stand by the decision made in the October 20 whatever meeting to divide the cost of the invoice 7 ways, and that decision is unchanged. I think that'll need to be refined a little bit, but that's essentially it.
We got it.
Do we need to add in there that the decision was and still is based on the fire department's report and our bylaws?
Yes.
Sure.
You don't really, that's your discussion you've had. This is the clear resolution that I will
Okay,
respond back.
okay.
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 Okay, so then moving on
Do you
to,
guys carry that?
oh, yeah, carried.
Yep.
All in favor, yeah. Okay. Dead tree standing, municipal reserves managing. Okay,
Okay, let me get to that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so-
down there, wait. So I think it's pretty good. I had a couple of things.
Okay, go ahead and, cause so do I.
On number.
I will have
on
some
the-
things too. So you guys go first, then I'll go.
Okay, on the actual, what is it called? On the actual, policy, number 4, I think there should be a definition. So there's purpose, scope, and then number 4 is definitions. I think we should have a definition on, what is a hazard.
Hazard?
Yeah, just, what is a hazard that, needs to be addressed, and it should say something about, the potential damage to property and people or people sort of thing. And then that's one.
Okay.
Oh,
Not just damage, but also on public access, it would be accessibility.
oh, blocking accessibility, good point. And on roads, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so accessibility could be put in there.
Okay.
And then on 6, I think number 1 is actually the lead sentence, and then poses a imminent hazard, threatens municipal, and obstructs. All of those would be bullets after that one. They're not separate.
Okay.
And I would also, are we not at all concerned as a removal criteria that poses a imminent hazard to private infrastructure? Like, what if a resident comes forward and says, this tree is going to fall on my house or my fence, is that not a removal criteria? And it's not put in anywhere in there.
If the tree is on the MR and it's leaning towards someone else's property, it's our responsibility. So I would say yes.
Agreed.
What's your concern, Melissa?
I think I'd like to clarify that with the insurance company, because it would all depend on the situation. If it's an extreme weather event that happens and this falls, usually,
Oh, I agree, but
Oh.
once this
If
is
it's
talking about
identified as-
identifying
and
for removal prior to that extreme event.
yes, and we usually do. If people notify us, then we're gonna go and assess. But again, we've got to be careful about perception of ones to perceptions of.
So if you can check the wording as to how you want to do it, it still needs to be in there.
Yes.
Because we are responsible for taking down that tree that might hit someone's shed that's on their private property.
Especially if it's identified and we've assessed that, yes, it probably is a hazard.
Yeah.
If it's non-identified, but the resident hasn't identified it, and we haven't identified it, and it's a natural hazard,
That's
then
different.
that's a different story.
And that's really, what has precipitated this whole need to create and clean up this policy is, it's pretty clear if it's going to come down on the road or on, one of the beach access trails or something like that, the village needs to act on it. It's this gray area of, risk to private property and how we're handling that, which is where I think this policy is really needed.
So what I'll do is whatever other changes you guys, I'm gonna take that part and I'm gonna send it off to the insurance company with the whole policy and ask them for clarity with that.
Sounds good.
And then I've got another one under 12. I don't think the disclaimer needs to be, I mean, the whole policy is on municipal, not on private. I don't know if you need the disclaimer. I think you've got a disclaimer under it's under liability and resource limitations. Doesn't seem like it fits there.
Okay,
So I would,
so I'll ask for clarity on that with the insurance company.
yeah, it just felt weird to be in there. That was all I had. Leona?
Well, since we're on number 12, just right above that, it says unauthorized removals are subject to enforcement under municipal bylaws. So what is the enforcement?
We have a public lands or a public
It's a
bylaw,
bylaw, yeah, public land use bylaw.
yeah. And then enforcement, well, as we're working through a lot of stuff, we're trying to get this all figured out because right now we haven't done any enforcement, right?
But wouldn't enforcement be like the other policy, be attached to the policy itself? So for example, on the one policy, you have a list of fines, right?
That's in bylaws.
Oh, that's in bylaws, okay.
This is just a policy.
Okay,
It's a bylaw that sets the fines, so
Okay.
I would have to review the public lands bylaw, which we're gonna have to review it anyway, once we get this shoreline stuff.
okay.
Then you shouldn't have that sentence in there. If you're saying subject to enforcement under municipal bylaws, there is no municipal bylaw for it.
There is in public lands,
Yeah, you have a public land. use
Oh,
bylaw.
though, okay.
yes. This is just laying out for
And
us.
so what is the
structure.
enforcement in the public lands at currently?
I would have to bring that back to you guys so that you
Okay.
can have that. I don't have
Okay,
it handy.
this sounds like this is coming back anyway.
Yes,
So then, I
attach the public lands.
would
bylaw
like
with
to know
this.
what the
Well,
enforcement.
specifically to what that means.
Yeah, cause
Like
to me-
if somebody cuts a tree down, what happens?
Yeah.
That they were unauthorized to do
empty,
threats.
well, not
Yeah.
even threats, empty statements make no sense to me. So.
I think.
What is it?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think that's a broader topic, and it fits in with like what we talked about on our shoreline walkthrough, where residents may have cleared trees to enhance their view or cut down trees to make room for their boat lift and all that, and right now I think it's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, and we don't really have teeth on it. So I think it's a bigger discussion of how we want to manage it and how we want to balance resident education and kind of the expectation that we all play nice versus what do we do if we need more teeth on it. And I think that is a bigger and broader picture in general with a lot of these things, of which dead standing tree is part of it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to number 7. So number 7, it says boundary verification. There is uncertainty regarding the boundary. The applicant may be required to provide a legal survey plan or real property report. This ties into that discussion about having a pin locator. I really believe that as a village, we need to have a pin locator. It's a service that we can apply, that we can give to our residents. It gives us certainty as to what we're talking about, and it gives them certainty. So with this, when you're bringing that back, if there's no pins and our pin locator can't find it, then yes, then we've got to go this other route. But in this case, it just makes sense to me that that's part of what our first line of defense is that pin locator.
And that is a discussion we're gonna have during the budget process, because either we're going to purchase one,
Yep.
or we're going to rent one if we can. These are all things I'm investigating, and I have been having discussions with Public Works, so we're gonna work on how do we move this forward, because we want something proper. Or do we do a contract with the town, because the town may have one? We have to figure this out.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But it means this line is okay, we just gotta do more due diligence on another
Alright.
side of it.
Well, if we do have access to a pin locator,
Yes,
And maybe that is it's as simple as saying that, when and if possible, a pin locator will be our first attempt, and if that fails, then we'll go to
A
these
legal
others.
survey may be required.
Well, and I think that's the due diligence on the municipality, you're correct. But this is just so that if people don't trust the municipality,
Still wanna have it in there.
have it in there,
Yeah,
okay?
I still wanna
Okay.
have it in there,
So
so that nobody can say, ah, we don't need to use our pin locator.
so the municipality will
Well,
do due diligence in locating pins.
If boundary verification, there is uncertainty regarding, boundaries. The village may engage the use of a pin finder. If that is unsuccessful, the applicant may be required.
Okay.
Because then at least it says, yeah, we're gonna try the pin finder. It doesn't matter how we do it, whether we own one, contract it,
Yeah.
whatever. And then the real property report. And that same,
well,
okay,
just
sorry.
before you go past that, what about, like, if it's obvious, it's in the middle of some, like it's in an obvious location, do we still need to do the pin finder? Or it's only in uncertainty?
boundary verification when there is uncertainty.
Okay,
It's
that's
set in
when
there.
we will use the pin.
Yeah,
We
it's
will
set
look
in
at,
there.
our first step is to try to locate.
Yeah.
Through use of a pin finder or other.
Yeah.
Okay,
The other, in that same one, is there any difference between the shoulder seasons and winter? Because in your springs, fall, and you can have frozen ground. So it says only winter in here.
I thought you actually had some dates.
Yeah, you did, October
I do.
15th.
And then I've added a clause in there to make sure that it understood. Where
I
is
was
it?
just looking to see which that, because here's where I made the.
Trying to find that.
Number 10.
Yeah, number 10.1.
Yeah.
Non-emergency removals requiring vehicle access for cleanup and removal are only permitted between October 15th and March 31st when the ground and shoreline are fully frozen and stable.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured that was clear.
Yeah.
And then that, because it has to have a bit of flexibility because we're in November and.
March 15th, you could still have 6 feet of snow.
Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good. So number 10, okay. In 10.1, you have all cleanup and removal. So the third bullet point, I must
Yeah.
comply with Alberta environment requirements and conditions.
That's only because that's shoreline areas and recreation lease lands.
Okay,
That's it.
So I know that,
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
But are those rules accessible to the public? And can there be a link post?
We're working on that. I
Okay.
have a meeting tomorrow with Alberta Environment and our shoreline consultants, and we're gonna have these discussions.
Again, it's one of those things, if the statement is in there, then the public has to be able to get
Access it.
access it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do we want, if it's on MR land and not affecting the shore, like, let's say it's back on one of these areas, why do they need to remove the tree as opposed to letting it decay in the forest?
Yes.
If it's on the public access, if it's impeding access, if it's on the shoreline, but do we even care if it's not, if they cut the tree down and it falls and it lands in MR, they have to haul that away? Because that's kind of what this says, and I'm going, we'll just let the tree rot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Alberta Environment did say that that was a viable solution.
And that's why using Alberta Environment use requirements and conditions leaves us open to those
That's the
options.
bullet point says
Says
all cleanup
Must be done.
must be done.
The main thing, yeah, the main thing that the main things that they said is that, you don't clear out underbrush, which is mentioned here
Yeah.
in the thing, and then that you don't stack the wood on MR property. But yeah, whether it's removed or whether it's left to rot in place, both are acceptable, just not stacked.
And
Well,
that
and-
could be something simply because you've got ultimate say over these trees, because it's the CAO. I mean, somehow that wording could be changed, that in discussion with the
That's
CAO.
correct.
So it says all cleanup or removals in discussion with the CAO. All falling cleanup or removals in discussion with the CAO must comply. Because if you say falling, then you're
Okay, so that's 10.1 third bullet point.
correct.
Okay.
Paul, is that
Yeah.
reasonable?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
My turn, or you got
Hey,
some more?
I
In
got
fact,
two
it's-
more.
It's under eight.
One more.
It's under 8 as well. Ensure all debris is removed to private property within 30 days.
Yeah, you're right. So
So
that would
we
need to
need
be.
to address that as well.
And number 11, fire risk mitigation. The municipal may issue annual advisories. That's okay. During popular fuzz and spring dry seasons. I would remove spring. I would just say and dry seasons, because the dry season could be fall as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I would take out the word spring.
Agreed.
And that's me. That's me.
Okay, Paul?
Okay, I had a few small edits, which should largely have been captured already, but I'll go through it. But my overall concern is I'm still confused on that we haven't defined, or I think even figured out ourselves. When are we putting this on a resident to do their own initiative, and when are we doing it either, through our own maintenance or us contracting to an arborist to take it out? Because a lot of it is worded as if the resident is doing it. They have to remove it to private property within 30 days. We talk about accessing through private lands. So a lot of that is like we're putting the responsibility on, to get a permit to cut down the tree and remove it. But in other cases, and in some cases, we will do it on our own initiative if it's a risk to anything other than private property, if it's a risk to a public trail or that sort of thing, then we would be undertaking the removal. If the taking out the tree is solely because a resident has concern for their own private property, then that's where we've had the discussion in the past. Well, would we say to the resident, we give you permission for you to contract somebody and cut it down? Or, do we say, yeah, it's a liability that we want to remove so we don't have a claim against our insurance or something like that, or somebody getting hurt on their own private property from our tree. We haven't figured that out of how we can make that call. And when I read through it, it's confused about whether the removal criteria and directions applies to Alan or applies to the resident.
So how I interpreted it, and Melissa can correct both of us on this, how I interpreted it is if the resident felt the tree was a risk to fall on property, and Alan went out and looked at it, or Melissa went out and looked at it, and they felt that the tree wasn't dead, then that's when it's incumbent upon the resident to get the arborist in. So that's their method of appeal.
But that's not to remove the tree. That's to assess the tree, though, right?
Well, but you have to assess the tree in order to be able to remove it. If the tree is assessed and it's assessed as alive by Alan and Melissa, the resident doesn't agree with it, then they get the arborist, and if the arborist said, no, it's dead, so now we look at the risk factor. If the risk factor is that dead tree can fall on private property, then we have to address it.
So this is just to curb some of the situations we have run into where, yes, we've been called out, yes, we've gone and assessed trees, and we did find one and we are dealing with it. We have it on our record. The other ones we felt worked. So now it's just creating that balance where if they feel that they really think it has to come down, then now we're looking for that backup proof.
But I think Paul is even going further back in that process, and he said, so if the resident identifies a tree and we say, yes, it's dead, and yes, it poses a hazard, and yes, it could fall onto either a power line or a fence or somebody's house, this says we give them permission to cut it down. At what part is it up to us to cut it down?
We will attempt to do this as part of our budgets and deal with the ones that are dead, because
Sorry,
They're-
so
So you're
that's not
saying-
what this says.
So you're saying that it's the municipality's responsibility to cut that tree down if it poses a risk to
And we agree with that.
private or public property?
we deal with the public property. If it's on our property and it is a risk and it is dead, we do our due diligence to try and get
So
everything
we-
taken care of as best we can, but we're not foolproof. There's a lot of trees here.
Yeah, but then why do we have things like, you know, preferably to access through private property, preferably, you know, that we want the tree removed to private property within 30 days? Why are we having all those things if we are undertaking these operations ourselves? If we're undertaking the operations ourselves, we're going to access it through MR land most likely, or ask for the residents' permission if the best access is through their own land. We're not going to be concerned about removing the tree to private property. It's like it's worded in a lot of ways that the resident is undertaking this work, and we're approving it for a time within a certain period. We want them to report back that it's been cut down. It's worded as if a lot of it is done by the resident.
Correct.
Okay, I see where you're concerned.
Yeah, that was my concern with it too, is that this one really deals with a resident going on to MR and cutting down a tree. If
Yes.
we say that, no, that tree is still alive, or we don't believe it poses a risk, there is ways that they can still go through an arborist and all of that. If we agree with the resident and say that tree is dead and it poses a risk, then this says, oh, you can cut it down. What we should be saying is, do not we cut it down?
I think it's depending on the situation. There are some that we just can't get in back there. We could go through MR, but we're gonna have to brush clear MR, which we've been trying to open up areas so we can get better access. But it's
To
a
walk
bigger
in there and
property.
cut a tree down?
Well, I can't, it depends how far in it is. Alan can't do it on his own, not,
Well,
No,
I know, but
yeah.
at that point, is it incumbent on us to protect our trees on our property falling into private and damaging?
and that I think is another reference of why I wanna send this off to the insurance company and get some clarities.
But I think before that, though,
I think we need to be clear ourselves on what, and maybe the insurance company feedback will change it, but you know, this kind of all started from, you know, a resident being concerned, and you know, we say, well, yeah, maybe it is a dead tree and maybe it is a concern, but you know, where do we draw the line on saying, you know, anything on MR? We take, you know, we will undertake to cut it down versus, you know, it's a bit of a gray area. Maybe that is a bit of a risk. It's maybe not super high on our thing, but, you know, if you want, Mr. Resident, we'll give you permission to cut down this particular tree because it's maybe a bit of a gray area. And we have not, clarified that gray area here.
Maybe the problem is that we should have two policies. One, a municipal initiated removal, and the second is a resident initiated removal. Because if it's a municipal initiated removal, then we're responsible, and that's opening up a whole nother can of worms, because that's a budgetary problem as well. But if it's municipal, the rules are a whole bunch different than they are for a resident. So maybe some of our lack of clarity is the fact that we're trying to lump it all into one policy.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
And you could be right, and that's the clarity I'm gonna seek through insurance also to make sure, are we doing this right? What's missing? What do we need to fix? on top of the
Okay.
things that you guys have brought to my attention.
Paul, is there anything further, like, I think we sussed out the general, we need some clarity on when we remove it and when the resident is given permission to remove it.
Yeah, I think most of my comments kind of circle back to needing clarity on that. So I don't know if it's really necessary to go through all the detailed ones because
Okay.
it really comes back to that issue.
Okay, so
That makes
we,
perfect sense.
resolution or whatever, we need to send this back for further,
Administration to make further amendments,
Yeah.
seek clarity for
Clarity.
insurance.
Bef- bef-
Bring it back.
Yeah, and just I agree with that, but I think just want to have just get Leona and Dan see if we can get on the same page. Like, do we in general as a concept want to have it so that in most or all cases that we handle the removal, or are we looking for um, some solution that would say if a resident is concerned about a tree removal on impacting their private property, that there is space in there for us to give them permission to remove that tree at their own risk and expense. And
And that's the balance I think you guys have to figure out,
Yeah.
is because it's gonna have a huge cost in your budgets if we take it all on, or do you have this kind of balance where if it is, and it's easier for them, and they're doing stuff already. they
Yeah.
give permission.
like I think we came into this thinking that there is a space for a resident to get permission to remove a tree that is a concern to them at their expense. But then, if we say, I guess that's a question for the liability. If we say no, we're not going to remove it at our expense, you have the option to remove it at their expense, and they don't remove it, say, and then it comes down and takes out their roof. Um, what's our liability on that? Because we declined to remove it at our expense.
That's a question that needs to be asked.
Because I don't really want to get into a point of us saying that we'll just go and take out every tree. I mean, there's probably 3 or 4 trees that pose some risk to my property. And if there's a lot of places like that, there'd be a lot of trees that we'll have to
There's a
discuss.
ton in front of my place too,
Yeah.
so
everybody.
it's one of those things that you just sort of go, okay.
And
Okay.
that's where we're trying, this balance has been difficult, and that's where we're trying to figure out how do we get this right?
If we make the motion again for clarity of what we're doing.
Well,
Just move this to defer it to an additional meeting subject to additional information. Or move it to a later meeting subject to additional information.
Do we want a date when it's coming back?
I would say January, because that gives you some time
Thank you.
to get a hold of insurance. It
Yeah.
gives us time to consider budget, all of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And without those, we're still gonna have questions, so I would defer this motion to January.
agreed.
So, move by Councillor Thorgood to make further amendments as noted and seek further clarification through insurance and bring back to January's meeting.
All in favor?
Sure.
Okay, snow removal. This one is coming back,
Because you
Because I had
asked.
requested.
okay?
We did the change, as you guys had asked for.
And that was that permanent residents have to notify us that they're permanent residents. Is that basically it?
Correct. And I have a
One
couple
doesn't make
comments,
sense.
yeah, I have a couple comments.
Okay.
In number 6, I would just remove the higher than 6 inches. Like, why do we even have it in there? If the guy can remove a ridge, then let him do it, because you're already saying in the bottom of that, at the discretion will be exercised based on factors such as hazards, equipment capabilities, and priority level. So you're always already saying it's not a guarantee, but so I would just remove the higher than 6 inches.
So this, avoid creating a snow ridge.
Yeah.
We'll attempt.
We'll attempt.
We'll attempt.
Attempt to avoid.
So we'll amend that, remove the
Yeah,
6 inches.
yeah, staff will aim to, because that's what you're saying, aim to avoid creating a snow ridge as identified in permanent residence. Because you're saying, hey, it's all dependent on what happens there. The second thing was number 6, last sentence covers it. And then in there, I believe, because we've got those little red dots on all the signs,
Yeah.
I believe that we need to add something in there so residents know that those red dots exist. So we need to add identification of permanent residents with the red marker on the blue sign.
So really like a 7.1.
Sure.
And basically saying, and permanent residents are
Or-
identified by
A red marker.
square, red
Yeah.
marker on their blue signs.
You've got there the responsible to contact the municipality if they're permanent residents. Absolutely fine. What happens if a resident sells and they're no longer permanent?
They should let us know.
They should let us know.
So then
Do.
I would add that in.
another point.
Add another point. If a property should sell and is no longer a principal residence or permanent residence,
And yeah, the new owner is not a,
and the new owner.
Should sell, then notification to the municipality should be made by the property owner.
And it doesn't have to be sell, it could be if there is an ownership change, because some of
Ownership
it
change.
is, yeah, different, so.
fair enough.
Okay, I agree with that. I'm just trying to think how that would work, and so I
You
don't
can
know.
only do what you can do, and
I
I
think
think Alan will know.
yeah, Alan will probably know, and there may like I don't think people are going to be rushing to say, "Hey, stop plowing my driveway," or stop plowing my entrance. But yeah, we'll probably know over time that hey, nobody's been at this place all winter long. They got a red dot. Let's maybe remove it.
Red dot.
And if that was done in error, then they can let us know and we'll put it back on.
Okay,
So I think I mean, if we as residents, like this policy and want to deal with it, for example, if I'm gone for a month and a half, I think it's only fair for me to phone Melissa and say, hey, Melissa, I'm gone, all of January, February. Alan doesn't get, whatever, then that's fine. He can get it on a second pass or whatever, but at least then So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
there is some give and take on the part of residents to let you guys know.
All we can do is hope and give it a try and assess it like next year. Once we get snow, if we get
okay,
snow.
okay.
Might so far this year,
so
that's
that
true.
one, so what do we need to do with that? We need to have a motion to
So we
make that change?
You can do a motion to approve this policy
As
with,
amended.
with the amendments or as amended, yes.
Okay, there they are there, yes. Snow removal policy as presented, approve the policy.
With the current amendments
With the-
and the discussed amendments,
Okay,
that way it's clear.
So moved.
did you get that?
So who's made the motion?
I do.
Okay. So we're approving as
As per
Motion to
amendments.
approve the policy with the current amendment and additional amendment as discussed.
All in favor?
Yep.
Next is the insurance review and fire control bylaw. Okay, this was brought forward to make sure, as for clarity, I think we discussed this briefly before, but
Now you've got the full clarity from the
Yep.
insurance company.
So for me, this has got ramifications with the Jack's Pond discussion, which is later on. Can we deal with all of that together?
we could try, yeah, I think so.
Because it makes a huge difference.
We may have to come back to some specifics with the Jack's Pond, but yes.
Yeah, I think, first thing is, do you feel your fire control bylaw is adequate based on your insurance review?
We only had one section, 9.1.
See,
Because this, when I had it amended, I did send it to the fire and they went through it.
9.10. So MNO.
Okay,
Lights fire on any lands owned or controlled by the Summer Village except the Summer Village's express conditions. So this is where it refers to Jack's Pond, where we've got a publicly used area that the Hall Society and maybe other interest groups will light a fire because there's a fire pit there. So that's a whole nother application process to you as Melissa. And so is this something that we have to take on, you're willing to take on? Because if you don't have that written consent, then they're liable, or?
This conversation has been had for quite a while, actually, because previous to that fire pit, which isn't regulated properly, there was no fire pit down there, and there have been fires down there, and we spent summers cleaning up nails because it was just being burnt on the ground,
Yep.
pellets. So unfortunately, we didn't follow our own bylaw, but we wanted to clean up the mess. So, and cost savings, because there was no budget, this was the way to try to stop one thing, but we're still not fixing the whole.
well, I think there's value to having a public, pit there. There's also, when we do Jack's, the big classic, they potentially they wanna have a fire here, which would technically be on, an outdoor fire would be on public lands. So,
Here at the Hall?
yeah, didn't they have an outdoor?
No.
Anyway, okay, in that
That's it.
case, that would be a special permission. But
Correct.
how do that's like trying to regulate a fire pit at a provincial campsite, and every time you light it, you have to get permission from somebody.
I'd suggest we manage it by maybe adding a sign there where we also list the fire hazards like we have at the entrances to the village. So there's a little sign maybe on the side of that shed there that says current fire hazard, high, medium, low, down.
Yeah,
And then an express sign that says, fires at your own risk. And we'll go back to it in the budget for this stuff, but maybe we do a poor boy quick one load of gravel this fall and dump it around there, and then maybe assess whether we do something, like the more extensive stuff that was identified as a next year budget item to do it nice, but just to have a little ring of gravel there put in at this point. And then we kind of covered our high liability things. We're communicating that there's a fire ban. We're
Yeah.
communicating it's at their own risk, and we're taking care of that 3 meters of flammable grass, at least in a quick interim solution right now.
So the only issue that I have with that is use at your own risk. Who knows who's there lighting that fire, and how do we identify that risk, right? Because it's not always a Hall Society event
No.
where somebody is lighting a
No.
fire there.
it's literally,
It could be anybody.
It could be
it's
anybody.
anybody at all.
And so I agree with you, Paul. I absolutely agree with you, but it's just how do we identify where the responsibility for a fire, and how do we protect those surrounding residences that are there?
And then this is, I'm not gonna disagree. This is a bigger picture, and we don't have the proper signage, we don't have any rules. We haven't done our due diligence.
Yeah. It's hard to do, but if we say, no fires at all, and somebody still goes and does their own poor boy fire or something like that, I don't know. Putting a fire extinguisher inside that shed is probably something that would be a responsible thing to do, and hopefully it won't just get stolen. But that would be another thing as well. But I don't know. I guess if a fire does get out of control and nobody's been kind enough to post it on Facebook so we can see who the people were that are involved, then I don't know. I don't know how you can get it to zero risk.
Well, I think you reduce the risk by spreading gravel or making sure that you have that 3-meter zone of non-combustible. That's the biggest thing right now.
And that they're.
And hopefully if there's a sign there that says fire ban,
Those-
somebody walks by and says, what the hell are you guys doing? Put that out.
I don't think there's the happy medium here is gonna be a hard one, because you're gonna have one perception this way and one perception this way.
Sure.
And I think this is a bigger discussion than, I thought it was an easy fix, then I realized it might not be.
Well, I think we need to reduce, there's there's an assumption it's going to be used, or if something else will be used, which isn't as good.
That's right.
So if you've got a fire pit with gravel around it and it's used in a responsible manner, what is that?
Yeah,
is
so
that-
it's gravitating, that's why I was saying, can we deal with these two things together? Because we're gravitating
Yeah,
into
to
the
that.
request that's down at the bottom. So as a policy, the only thing that I see here, if I'm talking about this policy, is that on O is the lights, any fire controlled by and must get express written consent. We're not doing that. So that to me is one of those things that's written in a policy that is useless because it's not being
This
monitored.
isn't a policy, this is a bylaw.
Anyway, it's a bylaw.
I guess it would be, I guess it would
I-
be the exception being municipally created fire pits such as at Jackson Pond.
Designated areas.
Designated
That's
fire
right.
pits.
It could
yeah.
be, yeah.
That's
Yes.
exactly it.
Okay.
It is, and I hate to say this is just bringing the bylaws are coming more into play now, and this is just bringing in like things that have been done, and now we need to kind of find that balance.
I like your wording
Yeah,
that you just gave, Paul.
Yeah.
designated area or approved area or something like that.
Yeah, approved
Under the
area.
following
And
conditions.
we might be specific because it's the only one, the exception
Yeah.
being the designated fire pit at Jack's Pond.
Like, it's just encouraging people to start being mindful that we have bylaws. We're not against things, we just need to know.
Right.
Well,
So if you do the designated area, with the exception being Jack's Pond, in accordance with fire risk control signage. Because I believe it's incumbent upon us to put up that signage there.
Yeah.
I don't disagree,
and potentially a fire extinguisher.
which all has a budgetary implications to get all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, we understand that,
Yeah,
but it is a well-used winter area.
yes.
Mhm.
And then your idea of a fire extinguisher in that building that's down there, that's another question, and I'm having a conversation with insurance. Because I don't know if,
Who's got
Yeah.
access?
and who, is that our building? Or was that somebody else's building? I don't know all the details. And
Well,
then
you-
when it
you
comes
could-
down to certain things, will insurance cover it because of certain things? I don't know.
You
I'm trying
could
to
put
investigate.
an outdoor with the glass, break glass in case of emergency. You could put a fire extinguisher on that pole or
Yeah.
on where the water, where the well is. That
Yeah.
is our property. I don't know about the shack or not, but you could put it out there and identify it and
Yeah.
have, and
Yeah.
yes, it could be vandalized. Well, a lot of things could be vandalized. We can't not put something in there because we're concerned about that.
And
So,
then it's just the maintenance that becomes with those things too, because then
For
we
sure.
have to do our annual maintenance and it'll have to be
Yep.
annually picked up.
as we do with the other ones.
Yep.
So
in the
Aaron
maintenance.
also came up with a list of rules of use.
Yeah.
Have water available. If you're gonna start a fire, have water available.
And that's kind of what the insurance company was talking about, and that's why, as we move farther in, like, our bylaw is our bylaw, and now we're moving to the other situation, and that's gonna be a council discussion and budget and things like that, so.
Yeah.
I think it's just that the bylaw, I think, is there. It's just how we are going to move forward to fix some of the stuff that we haven't done.
So O, 9.10, that's the only amendment that I see with
With
what
creating the exception of Jack's Pond Fire Pit.
subject to
Yeah.
fire risk hazards.
Okay, so
Um,
then that is amending that bylaw, and we'll have to do that and bring it back.
So 9.10, are you, sorry, are we amending it, part of it?
They wanna put an exception for Jack's Pond.
Yes.
Kind of like an idea that designated municipal fire pit kind of idea?
Yep.
Okay.
Paul said it earlier in his discussion, so
Yeah.
you'll find it back there.
Yeah, and I think if we're putting up a sign there, we can add in the standard verbiage that you see like around fires in public areas where they talk about, you put out the fire before you leave. It's got to be, cool to the touch is the expectation, and those sorts of rules that you probably see on
No
around.
unintended fires.
And must adhere to fire restrictions, fire bans, all of
Yeah.
that should be on there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we don't want people lighting fires.
No,
when there's a
and we
fire.
even thought about putting another one of those signs like
Just
out
line
front.
sign.
We already did
Yeah.
think about that too as a possible
Yeah.
option to get it down there,
For sure.
which is good because then it's got two sides of the community.
Okay.
So.
Well, and while we're modifying the bylaw, I'd like to go back to that fire protection charges 5.1B. The owner or occupants of any property benefiting from the fire services, just to preclude any confusion like we had this time. So rather than benefiting, saying, any property that received fire protection services, or however we word that, to say like benefiting means, if the fire was on your property and the fire department comes out and, walks across to make sure it's out or sprays it or whatever, that's
That's a service, yeah.
you've received the services.
Okay, so benefiting should change to received.
Receive services from the fire protection.
Yeah. And, we made the exception, or we made the call last month to include the MR as one of the benefiting properties, one of the receiving properties for that. Do we want to clarify property, whether property includes MR or doesn't? Like I think we made the exception, but in this case where it's a strip of MR, 5 meters wide or 7 meters wide or whatever, I I wouldn't have wanted to necessarily include that as a seventh property, but how do we define what property is, or do we leave that somewhat unspecified and make the call ourselves?
I would think we would leave it out, but because that we did make an exception on that one.
It's because it was unidentified.
Yes.
So
Well,
the question
that's
is,
what that whole clause is for, is when it's an unidentified.
right, so then
Source.
that begs to say, well, if there is an unidentified fire, and the firefighters have to provide a service to the MR in order to put that fire out, do we share in that responsibility just as any other property owner who isn't at fault has to share in that? Because it's only when it's unidentified.
Right. But you could have an unidentified fire starting. Well, if you have an unidentified fire starting on somebody's property,
It's their responsibility.
it's their responsibility, even if it's unidentified source. Like say
Correct.
I toss a cigarette onto Dan's yard and it starts a fire, and then I wander on and nobody knows I did it, then Dan pays for it.
Yes.
If you can discern that Dan was the one that tossed, or no,
If it's unidentified, then you don't know who tossed it.
You don't know who tossed it.
But it started on your property.
You're gonna
You get the bill.
pay for it, but if it goes into MR and the next property, then it's
split.
splitting it.
And then you are opening a can of worms here, because here's the thing, you could have the same thing happen on even down at Jack's Pond.
Tax pond or one of those fire lanes between.
And that may have been caused by somebody, but it's gonna become unidentified because nobody is going to.
We won't know who did, yeah.
So it might
So
not-
do you
we don't
want
know, and-
to leave this as deal with those situations as?
I
they
think
are?
it needs some more discussion, and I think it also needs more clarification. Both budgetary
Correct.
and insurance wise, so those are things that we need to discuss a little bit further.
Would you like a legal review of this bylaw? And I can also send it off to Fire again and give them the concerns we had with the situation that arise, and what would be,
What would we be asking, either legal or fire?
well,
That specifically it's, that we haven't addressed. So is the question just simply, if it starts on MR and is only MR, and it doesn't touch any private, then the village
our
pays-
responsibility.
the village pays for it. If it's undetermined, then whoever's benefiting, or in this case,
Receiving services.
receiving services,
Not
Yeah.
benefiting
yeah,
anymore.
yeah,
Because
receiving
the fire-
services is pays for it.
and the fire on MR, just, if it happens and it wasn't caused by the municipality, then that would be our liability. But we won't, it'll have to come out of your reserves,
Yep.
your budget.
Yeah, because the insurance won't
Because
cover it.
insurance won't cover it. So,
No, we understand that.
No.
Yeah.
So I don't think it needs to go to anybody further.
The only question is, and I think Paul, you're referring to this, is do we continue to share in the responsibility of an unidentified fire as one of the servicing properties?
Yeah.
And would you want to put that in as a ongoing policy? Or do we want to deal with it on a case by case basis?
Ideally, I'd like to have it clarified in there, but as we talk about it, you talk about all the different scenarios that could happen. Then maybe it is a case by case. Like if it's just something where, a fire goes, like I
You're not
I'm
gonna
thinking a little
capture
bit differently
everyone.
where you got a big section of MR and it goes up and then it also goes into, a nearby residence place versus in this case where, a lot of the fire was along a little tiny strip of MR.
So that's a different case, Paul. If there's a big fire in the MR and it goes onto a residence property, that's part of our liability because it started in the MR.
depends how it starts in the
Right.
MR. If it's caused by
Us.
us,
Yeah.
and it's a 5,000 deductible liability.
I,
If it's not caused by us and it's caused by citizens in
Some kids
the
playing in the
MR,
bush.
then it's gonna come out of your budget.
Yeah, I'm strictly
Unless we
talking
can
about
identify.
I'm
Right.
strictly talking about, where you can't identify the responsible party. It's a fire that started somehow. Maybe it's a cigarette, maybe it's kids playing, maybe it's lightning strike, I don't know. But there's nobody that has been identified as responsible. And it involves private property and MR property. I guess it is a gray area. Like, if
It's like a wildfire.
It would be-
Sometimes
yeah,
they
it-
are caused by a person, they prove that somebody did set it, but it
Who
burned
did
down
it?
half of Jasper. Right?
Or, like,
yeah, and you might know it's a human cause, but you don't know
And
who
that's-
the human is.
That's right, but that is a huge cost that somewhere along the way is the burden of part of the municipalities and the government, depending on how large it is.
Right, and so if there is a wildfire, is there a process in place for assistance from provincial partners then? If it is a wildfire like that?
Well, that would depend on the size.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I can't give you the full straight answers on that, but I know in insurance wise, if it's considered a wildfire, that's $100,000 deductible.
Yeah.
And that's $100,000 we are paying.
Which would be a small price to pay. It could be a small thing. Yeah, okay,
Okay,
so.
maybe we just change the benefits to receiving services, and then we will just leave it, I guess, at that point.
Case by case.
And then the 9.1, we're saying except, and then we're kind of wording the exceptions of Jack's Pond.
Yeah.
For like the rules of like the signage we're talking about, does that have to be a separate motion? Or
Well, that's
just do
something that we are going to
Or
have.
budget. You're
gonna come
and
back with
that's
us.
in budget, and that's going to, because there's gonna be some costs here.
And it can be dealt with the correspondence at the bottom.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be in
Yeah.
bylaw.
Right now, the bylaw it's here and it just kind of covers that
Yep.
there's supposed to be permission or the exception.
amending it, last time I heard it, we're amending it and bringing it back.
You have no choice. This is a bylaw, it would require 3 readings.
Yeah. So when are we bringing it back?
Whenever you get it prepared.
Well, because it's coming into winter use of Jack's Pond, I'd like to see it come back sooner rather
Next,
than
next
later.
meeting then,
Next
so
meeting.
December, I think they don't quote me on it, December's meeting.
Yep. To the December meeting.
Okay,
Okay,
and then so we're, then it's a 9.1 exception for Jack's Pond, designate, and call it like a designated municipal fire pit or whatever. And 5.1B, change benefiting and change to received services.
Okay.
Okay, anyone wants to move that?
I can.
all in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, procedural bylaw, agenda package distribution timelines. I thought this was fairly straightforward. What we were doing, was it not? Or is it?
You kind of came to us and asked if it could come sooner. So we done some digging and looked at other ones too, and we tried sooner this time, but it didn't work. We
Yeah.
tried Wednesday and it's still, this was a big package.
There's a lot more, yeah.
So there's a couple different things. There's
Yeah.
one is this agenda.
Yeah. which
Yep.
I
Okay, so
sent you.
that comes earlier, that's not.
Yeah.
And then the package detail that comes later.
Later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So is there, and all I was asking is, can council, in case they need to add something or they, what is this about? They can ask for some of that and you can say, hey, it's gonna be in the package. That's fine,
Yes.
but it allows us to add rather than springing it on you in the meeting and then you have no backup.
Yeah.
So this is a way of circulating this page.
So do you want that sent just to you, to all of
To
council?
three, yeah, to all
Okay.
three of us.
That's an easy.
Yeah, I think that is.
If
That
that is,
doesn't even need to go in here, probably.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Okay,
so then,
but I do have an issue.
okay,
Okay, so it says 3 business days. The issue that I have is Friday, the offices are closed. We get this package on Thursday, so that's 1 business day. 2 business days is Friday, 3 business days is Monday.
So does it business days in ours or is
It just,
is it, or just 3 days? That's the problem with
Yeah.
going through all this.
that was what we found
Is
in.
we business days or are we just strictly days?
that one, I was
Option
not
one says
clear.
3 business days.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm going, my concern is if I get this Thursday, and if I happen to be in meetings on Thursday or away or whatever, I have no hope of getting additional information from you guys because the office is closed.
Yeah,
I totally understand that and I'm fine with it, but I would like 1 day. So that's why I'm saying Wednesday would be a better day for the full package to be distributed. Then that gives us 1 day to get a hold of you guys so that we can get that additional information.
Yes, so change it from instead of 3 days is 3 business days, because I think it says in ours is just days, which it doesn't specify.
Where am I at? 6.4, okay. Page 49.
you know,
3 days before.
Yeah, 3 days before.
So if we add business, then we have it on Wednesday or.
Wednesday would
Wednesday.
have to be out by Wednesday.
Yeah, section 5 does not say business, that's what I've got down
Yeah.
here, so no, yeah.
So that's what we're wondering, and then do you want it still sent out to public, cause there's other ones that we found that the public is 1 to 2 days per days.
Yes.
Could be business days or whatever, but like, it gives you a chance as a council just to marinate in it and then public sees it. We saw that in other municipalities too, so this would be your time to change
Got
it. Or at the
so
same
not
time.
necessarily the agenda, but the package.
The whole
Yeah,
package,
the
so
whole
like when we send you the agenda package on Wednesday, that's where we're gonna do 3 business days. And then you can say Thursday, we will put it on the website and Facebook, what I've been doing. Right now,
Thursday
I
at the
send
end
it
of
to
day.
you, and then I go put it on the website and Facebook right after.
But then if one of us comes back to you and says, we'd like more information on this,
But that's what we're already doing that prior, we're just doing the agenda page prior, like what I did to you earlier, the week before. We don't have to
okay,
put that
the
on.
reason so in some councils have the full package a day before the public. So that what, if there's,
Just for you to marinate it in, I guess.
but
I
is
don't know.
there an opportunity to add things to that package then before the public
think
sees it?
I don't know at that point, no.
No,
So
no.
then what's the point of giving us a day more than the public?
I just threw it up there because other ones are doing it.
Yeah. Like if there was you know, if we had all of this, and like you said, you used the word marinate, if we marinated it for 24 hours before the public gets it, we're not gonna,
No, you're not adding anything.
you
to my
can't, you're not adding anything.
nope.
So if you're not adding anything, what's the
So we
difference
keep it
if
the
they
same.
get it at the same time as we do?
And I actually see a benefit in the public getting it at the same time as us, because if they have a specific question that I can't answer, then that gives me the chance to ask you guys for
Yeah.
that backup on the Thursday.
It's transparent.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
I can get the information, and again, I'm not blindsiding you at a meeting saying, oh yeah, but what about this? And then you have to say, well, I don't know. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me.
So if we wanna even put, I don't know, wanna put it in a policy that like a week before the meeting, so last Monday, we'll say that I'm gonna send you, or even the Thursday before or something. A little longer, that this is kind of like we have on the agenda, what I did to you the last couple times.
Yep,
But
just
this
the
time I'm
outline.
gonna include all three of you, cause you just kind of asked.
Yep.
For before, so we do all three of you, say like Thursday,
Which is,
So we
that's
leave it.
minor, that's in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
so we, you know, we don't have to put in the policy then. Then you have the chance that, hey, we kind of forgot something, or I need, this came up, or, right?
So I'm thinking what, if we're changing the bylaw, it's business
Business days.
days.
That's the only
That
change
way
that I
the
need.
package will go out Wednesday by end of day.
Yeah, cause then you've got.
Yeah. That gives
Yeah.
you Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday,
Yeah.
meeting on Monday.
And then your second part of that says, and then the public will get it after the councillors get it.
Yeah, it's-
Which is
can-
fine.
Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, that's all we do.
That doesn't, it doesn't say an hour after
Nope,
or
nope.
a minute after or
I just did
whatever.
it on that day, like you guys got it probably a couple hours before I was
And
able
that's
to go
fine.
post it on the website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, so all we need to change is not less than 3 business
Visit
days.
days, yeah,
Okay,
they're just adding this.
motion,
Yeah, Leon,
Please.
okay.
all in favor,
And are we,
but you wanna get the wording,
no,
Got the
I
wording?
think I got the wording for the bylaw.
How about we just get somebody to just do a motion?
Okay.
I move that we add, no less than 3 business days before the commencement of the meetings.
okay, all in favor? Done. Okay,
It's a bylaw though.
It's a bylaw, it'll come back in
Just come
December,
back
we will implement, so that it will come back in December for all 3 readings. Is there any other amendments you wish to do to this procedural bylaw?
That was the only one that I came.
One?
Yep.
Can I suggest one? Because our meetings go so long, we don't quite get an ample little break. If it's over 3 hours, could we say if we have a half-hour recess? So if we can have a quick break, go pee, coffee, and a little snack, because sometimes our meetings are going to like, we start at 9:30, we're going into 1 o'clock, sometimes 2 o'clock. I
Fairmont,
noticed the county of Statler does it. They'll have the
actually,
breaks,
a
that's
fair
fine.
amount of municipalities will say that a council meeting, if it goes longer than 90 minutes, must be by resolution to extend.
I would say anything past 2.5 hours that we move to have a 5-minute break. That's all it is.
Or
but is that a problem to request that each time, or?
I don't know, I just, sometimes like we're in the middle, sometimes like, okay, we're waiting for like, someone
Oh,
bring up a
you-
recess or something, so we maybe have like a time, like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, maybe a 15-minute recess or something, I don't know. Cause sometimes like food, a quick snack would be nice, and then not noisy and crinkly. I don't know, that was just my suggestion, but this is all you,
I think that at this point,
just leave it.
let's just leave it, and if
Okay.
we request it, we request it, and
Okay.
like, I don't find it, hey, we need a break, okay, let's have a break, that's not a big deal. If we were a big, like, you know, a big council sitting in big chambers and all of that, maybe it's a little
I think
different.
maybe it's just being mindful if the meeting is long, which a lot of our meetings are, maybe more than a 5 minute break
Yeah.
is adequate. Like,
It's
you
a
know, say,
call.
okay, let's make it a little bit longer so people have a chance to go and get a breath of fresh air if they're getting a headache or have a little snack or
Yeah.
something like that, as opposed to just 5 minutes for everybody to run to
Yeah.
the washroom and get back.
Okay.
That's probably reasonable because these are long meetings.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so I just have Mark moved by Councilor Thurgood to change 5 and then 5 and then 8 to add no less than 3 business days prior to the meeting and then bring this back in December. Yep.
Okay, and that was moved, and then passed. Next, drought and fire flood protection grant. This is the one that you brought up, Paul?
Yeah, and
Uh,
it's also one that I know Leona and I heard about in October there,
Yes.
and then I saw that on officially, yeah.
So it's an opportunity to get a 70-30 grant to cost share drought and flood mitigation projects.
I think it's pretty interesting, and especially that it can include, I think, some of the upfront engineering work on it. I think it's really interesting the information that you added here, Melissa, and you know, when we talked about that CRMA requirement, which I forget now what it stands for, but Community Risk and Mitigation Assessment or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that is exactly what we need because I know that's one of my concerns I had on the project that we've looked at is that it's racing to the solution, and I'm not convinced that we've really fully assessed what the risks are and what we need to do. So I don't know, I was quite interested in that CRMA stuff and thinking doing that as a formalized process and then circling back and saying is our is our plan for all the ponds, you know, appropriate with this CRMA assessment?
Correct. And that has to be required as part of this, and we don't have it.
Yeah.
So that engineering report, when it talked about the risks of flooding within that engineering report that we got, that doesn't qualify as a CRMA.
Why?
That was a part of the scope.
That report really just says, you know, the community has identified this risk, so we've gone and put this whole plan in place to mitigate it. But it doesn't really, the report doesn't define the risks really at all. It just says, you know, we were told you're concerned about it. Here's something you can do. Um,
Yeah.
and really to say, you know, like what properties are at risk in a 1 in 100 year flood rain event, you know, like more defined, I think is kind of what that CRMA would be. And that would really give us something to go on to say, like, you know, is this a big enough risk that we need to act on it, or is it remote enough
Yeah.
that we don't need to act on it?
And is this project the one you really want to act on?
Great. So the only risk that I see with not doing the December 1st application, even without the CRMA, is you have no idea if this grant application is going to be available next year or not. I don't know if this is an ongoing grant that's always there, or are we missing the boat and the boat is going to sail away and never to come back again. So
We could put in an application, there's no guarantee, we'll probably be
Well, if you
rejected
don't
if
have
we
the
don't have
proper
all the
background.
proper stuff.
right.
So it's whether you want us to spend that time and do this and hope for the best, we can.
So if they reject it, do they reject it outright, or would they reject it subject to additional information?
Nope, they'll just reject it
Outright.
outright. This is how grants work. And if you don't have your preparation stuff ahead of time, based on their criteria, basically that's why all municipalities always say we must be have shovel ready projects. We must have done our due diligence because that's how it works.
I think reading through the you know, the attachment here from directions from Alberta government, it sounds like it has been and is for the time being an annual recurring thing. That's not to say that
Yeah.
the
It's a
government
longer
can't come
term
along
thing.
at any point and say, well, we're canceling it now, but there's nothing on here saying this is just a one-time thing.
Okay. If that's the case, then I'm comfortable at least spending the time to get the appropriate information and then make, because we're not going to make a decision on those drainage plans right now anyway, because we
Yeah.
don't know.
That's
And
right.
it's a drought at this
Yeah.
point in time,
Hard to
so
think
yeah,
about
I
flooding
think
when
we've
you-
got a little bit of time to deal with some of that.
So then essentially what we do then is put this CRMA in our budget for next year to complete and discuss and then conceivably apply for this next fall.
Yeah, so I think the recommendation I gave is pretty good, just add it as part of the budget deliberations so that we can get this set and get things going and get this, bring back cost and scope for doing this.
I did have a question of why that Third Street pond is not a strong candidate. That to me would be the strongest candidate. Is there a reason why that somebody thinks it's not?
We had, when we put it through to get Alberta Environment's approval just on the plan, we had pushback from some residents filed with Alberta government, their concerns
On the Water Act part.
on the Water Act part.
Have we has council seen this resident concerns email? I don't recall if we've seen it.
There was a resident that did send an email around saying, look, this place, this is flooded already before, it's flooded our properties.
But they
They were
wanted
actually,
something,
they
not-
were
not
more
road.
concerned about, they don't want the road developed.
Cause there's a road allowance.
There's a road allowance through that, so they thought that this drainage thing meant that road was gonna be developed, that's not.
Okay, but then
That's
it
not what I understood.
and that wouldn't mean that it's not a strong candidate. It's not a strong candidate to put a road in, but we're not talking about a road. We're talking of one of the two most significant areas in the village
Yeah.
that could potentially have damage to private property due to flooding. So why would you, like, to me, it would be the strongest candidate.
And it could be, but we don't have all the stuff.
That's
So,
what
and
the
we need
CRMA
that-
was.
that's what we need to
Exactly.
CRMA.
Yes.
Yeah, so what I took out of that email that we got was, one is that their property has flooded before. And they were concerned about pumping licenses. And they were
Oh,
concerned
that's the
about
one.
the development behind, which changed the drainage into Third Street Pond. And then that's
That's the other
created a bigger flood risk.
Right, that's the other property from the one that we've already dealt with. Yeah,
Cause that was the only email that I read.
yeah,
And so all
Yeah.
that other stuff that you were talking about was foreign to me, but yeah.
This was part of when cause we had a advertisement when we were applying for the Water Act. And then, a resident had.
That was
sent in
prior council, okay.
no,
Okay.
actually, that was just.
At the very
When
beginning,
we
before
were,
the very
remember we
beginning,
told you we were
okay.
advertising for the Water Act and we're just finishing off that process, we did have some resident concern.
It was a different risk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, but option two would allow us to proceed and get more information to complete the CRMA, correct?
Yes.
So that's the one that's,
That's the recommendation. of
And the
bottom.
recommendation at the bottom is that council defer participation in the December 1st, 2025 intake of the drought and flood protection program and direct administration to bring back costs and scope for completing a CRMA and any necessary engineering work in preparation for the next intake, so you could talk about it through the budget.
And then we kind of added that and put it as part of the 2026 budget deliberation.
Because you will have engineering costs
oh, for sure.
and what grants we could use for this.
But we specifically want, so this time when we're going out to an RFP or getting a scope, we specifically want the CRMA addressed,
Yes.
not here's the 20 high and low points in the village.
No, this is.
We want it very because I found that like, okay, that's all very nice, but,
so part of the
and we
plan,
can
yeah.
do all this and we can drill holes all over the place and put in that's all nice, but what's our highest risk stuff? Let's focus on our priorities. Leon?
So just procedural question. When you put out something for bid, like the scope of that project that Dan is talking about, does anyone review that scope prior to it going out, or is that just all on your plate, or how
That's
does?
all on administration's plate. And then usually what kind of happens, depends on the RFP that we're doing. If it's a bigger project, it's a bit difficult here because most municipalities that I've been at, we have one set engineering firm. They will start doing the major, and then when it comes down to an actual project, then it goes out to RFP.
But that's when you have an engineering department.
No, you don't need an engineering.
No, you
firm,
have
an
a firm on-
engineering
For,
firm.
under contract. yeah.
Yes.
I just, because for me, when you're spending money on an engineering project like that drainage one, and I don't know how much it costs, but it would make sense to me to look at all the different components of that, like why are we doing it? What are we doing it for? What grants are available? What additional information? So that the scope of that RFP is all inclusive, so that we're not going back and redoing it, which is
What we
kind
do.
of what we're doing this.
Well, you're right, but it was a previous council that.
I know it was.
They had all that info and they made that decision. And I can't.
Well, that's why I asked the
Yeah.
process of the RFP,
Yeah.
because if those RFPs are then done in conjunction with you and the mayor, and are directed on council, and we've got all that information about, okay, here's a grant, here's what they need, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada, all that kind of fun stuff, then okay. But like you're saying, the scope of that RFP wasn't enough to be able to
Get the
allow us to
information
get
we
the
needed.
information
That's right,
that we
because
needed, right?
when it was brought to council and the engineering firm spoke to council, council gave that direction.
Yeah, so it's just, it's a process that I think
Yeah.
needs another set of eyes, or another set of, okay, why are we doing this? What are we spending this money on? And what result are we hoping to get out of it? So,
So if you direct me with this, then I can get the engineers and then I'm gonna bring them back to give that discussion to you guys so
Okay.
that you get it clear. Because
And
you're
then
the one
there'd be
who'll make the
clear
decision on
right?
how you're gonna budget for this to move forward.
So I think based on that discussion, the recommendation would still stand.
And add the part that as part of the 2026 budget deliberations, or just leave it up to what's recommendations at the bottom.
I think this is good.
That's just
We
good.
know
Yeah.
that it's got,
Okay.
We all know it has budget implications and it has to be
Okay.
talked about.
yeah,
I'll make
So
that motion.
you'll make that motion. I'll just read it back.
It's as it's stated.
Yeah, council defers participation in the December 1st, 2025 intake of the drought and flood protection program and direct administration to bring back costs and scope for completing the CRMA and any necessary engineering work in preparation for the next intake.
And that'll get us some
And
good costs.
vote.
Then we're going down to,
Did you vote?
all in favor? Well,
Paul.
Paul.
Did you vote yes or no?
Oh,
can't hear ya.
I can't hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
we got an approval.
Thank
We
you.
got a thumbs up on that one. Okay, moving to, we passed all this.
It would be-
Can you guys?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, I lost the audio when I put the headphones on for some reason.
You fell asleep, come on.
You'll
Sorry.
never know.
Okay, so the next one is a request. I thought we
It's
just did this one.
7.2, which I think you should just
Receive for information.
receive as information, correct? Because I don't think we have enough to
Yes.
do this.
Yeah.
Moves on.
Okay, so for information, good.
Do a motion to accept this information.
I move to accept that for information, receipt for information for council.
Okay, then we're moving to 7.3, gravel placement. So, Hull Society asked for gravel around that fire pit. The short-term solution is one load of gravel to be spread in the immediate area in a 10-foot radius around the fire pit. I think that's all they were really asking for at this point.
Are they asking for us just to supply the gravel or to supply and grade and do all the work or
They're
just?
asking us to supply the gravel and they're looking at volunteer labor and equipment to spread the gravel around that area.
Okay.
And I think there was gravel previously, it just hasn't been, it's been a few years.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it.
It was a gravel base, the weeds have come up and through, and it's, it's a well-used winter, so. So, yeah. What do we want to do? We've got option 1 or 2.
I think for me, because we're looking at that fire bylaw and we're looking at Jacques Pond as an exception, and there's a whole bunch of different factors that are there. For safety reasons, I believe that, I mean, that's not going to be until January, February. Yes, we should supply the gravel and give that 3-meter thing there. You did bring up OH&S, volunteer equipment. I don't know how that gets dealt with, because I know volunteer stuff gets done in the town of Stettler and the county all the time. There's got to be a method for dealing with that. For me, I just get the 1 load of gravel. That way nobody's going to slip and fall and hit their head on that fire pit, split it open, and all that kind of fun stuff. And what would be the cost of Al just spreading that gravel around in a 3-meter area? Like, maybe that's,
Or he can just be oversight and just be there, and I don't know. I don't have any answers for you.
oh, okay.
This
okay.
is a tough one. Because we know volunteers do, most of the time when volunteers do a project, when they have a project, they have a design, they present it, and you approve it, and we say, okay, it meets all the requirements.
Yeah, not always, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever that thing,
And
but
then there's understanding that the municipality will cover this part, or whatever, or yes, we approve it and we're allowing you to put it on here. And usually sometimes there's a public works person or somebody who will bark it out and have it all set up so that they just do the basic work.
Well,
Even if you do a playground.
everything at Jack Spawn in the winter depends on volunteers, isn't it? Like last year, I know
Yeah.
you guys, you were part of the efforts to flood it there, and if they're marking out curling rinks or skating areas, that's all volunteer stuff, right?
yeah,
So I think it's good to have that disclaimer that, admin should be notified of volunteer events, but you know, again, I think that just comes down to I don't want to ever be to a point where hopefully we can't accept volunteer anything on MR,
it's a
because then
risk.
Jack's Pond will cease to exist as a destination, really.
Yeah.
So
So use
it's
at your own risk.
expressly use at your own risk. Yeah.
Is important again. I mean, for the spreading of the gravel, I don't know, like, do we have a piece of equipment that could quickly spread that gravel in a 3-meter, if it's dumped in the appropriate place? Like, how long would it take us?
Well, it can't be dumped in an appropriate place because we have to move it there.
Well,
You have to dump it, you have to dump the gravel in one spot.
It has to be way over here because we can't get by the fencing and the playground, so then it's gonna have to be moved.
You're moving the gravel.
You can't get a gravel truck in there?
No,
They tried, or looked at it.
that's a big risk. There's no room.
or a tandem gravel truck?
Well, if we do, we can try, no guarantees, but we gotta also watch the risks of the fencing, the
Yeah,
playground.
playground stuff, yeah.
Pickup trucks and vehicles access there in winter, and they
All the
drive kind of
time.
right up to close to that area.
Yeah, but a pickup truck and those kind of things are smaller than a gravel truck.
Okay.
So you would suggest moving it with a tractor bucket?
That may be what's required. I'm not gonna give you any full guarantees until we can make sure we assess it, but we'll do our best to try and get it over there without damaging anything, but there's never a guarantee. We'll do what we can that's gonna fit.
I don't, yeah, people have pulled trailers and stuff in there, I don't think that's an issue. So I would recommend we go with option 1, to provide them with one 15-yard load.
Take funded from the general reserves.
Okay? And then the work will be done by
By local volunteers.
local volunteers.
That's what they,
Yeah.
unless
Okay.
we want, like, but you had suggested, well, why can't we just do it? Is it that simple, or is that something that we obviously can get a tractor in there because we plow it, right? So we could, do we want to knock it down? Do we want to do it so we don't have to worry about volunteers and risks and breaking some, I don't know what they could break, but do we want to do it, or are you just happy to let the volunteers do it, or do we have an issue?
Okay, as long as it's all in a resolution, you're giving the authorization, don't matter to me. All we'll do is make sure that we've got the line marked for the reserve, which is not ours, so that you know what is the public land and what's not, and the rest.
Was there a concern that the fire pit is on public land, or on federal land? I don't
No,
understand.
it's not.
Oh,
I think
okay.
we're okay with that.
So
but
why do we need it marked? Like for,
If it's a 3-meter thing around the,
Diameter, I guess.
if we were doing the parking lot and everything else.
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
different
but if we're
problem.
just doing one load of gravel for around the fire pit, full stop, we don't need to.
No, I'm good, whatever you.
No,
put in
we're
your
at, we're
resolution.
not, we're not
I-
criticizing
that's
that.
it, yeah, like if it took Al a couple of hours, like 2 or 3 hours to do it, right? It just, and he's got a tractor and can go over there and just spread it out with his bucket, it just makes way more sense than having a whole bunch of volunteers show up and.
Yeah, I don't know why we're treating this area any different than we would a playground or tennis courts or this parking lot, or it's an MR piece of
Recreational
property
area.
that's recreational used by the community. So are we avoiding servicing it for some reason because volunteers got involved, or?
I don't know, there's been no plan. I can't give you any answers because there has never been any real plan.
So
that
that's
has-
part of our strat plan in January, is to identify the use of Jack's Pond
As a recreation.
as a
use,
recreational area.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
so that's fine. So in the addition to option 1, I would like to I would like to suggest that it gets spread by the tractor,
by the village.
by the village.
So the village will spread it. If there's some handwork done and it's lumpy, then the volunteers can rake it.
They could rake it afterwards, but just the general spreading of it within that.
The
3
equipment placement of with equipment can be leveled by the maintenance.
I'm okay with it, I
Okay.
just wanna make sure
Yeah.
that this is council's resolution.
Yeah.
You've given us the direction, and then if somebody's not happy, we got the direction through council. We're only doing what you've specified.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I would just measure the gate to see if we can get a truck through there, cause it would be way easier to get a truck in there, cause once he's through that gate,
It should
Yeah.
be,
he should be fine.
we should be able to swim.
And that's all with Public Works, I'm not the Public
Yeah.
Works, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
make sure I cover everything up so
Okay.
that we're.
And what's Valley Green Landscaping? Why were they involved in this, and what's the?
Because I wanted to do my due diligence to give you all information of options that are there and available. Maybe I went too far. I just want to make sure that this is all brought to your attention, that it could be done and it could be constructed properly and we could do it this way and it would actually make a proper fire pit.
Might
Because
work on strat
actually-
plan later.
Yeah,
I think that's part of the strategic planning.
yeah.
Okay.
So I think those could be referred to your strat planning or budget, and you can talk about all those after that. But at
Okay.
least I've done that part.
No, I was it just seemed,
Who wants to, so the motion that I have is to, council to direct administration to coordinate purchase and delivery of one 15-yard, approximately $500 funding from the general reserves and spread the gravel by maintenance of the village and the use of the tractor.
Well,
Just
just,
the use of the tractor?
I don't care how he
Just
spreads
spread
it.
it.
Just spread it, just.
yeah,
Okay.
if he wants to, yeah, I'll make that motion.
Okay.
All in favor? Paul, we
Yep.
need to see you.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, next, termination of Stettler Regional, so this is
This is
The fallout from that meeting.
so this is them saying it's being terminated, we need to accept that.
They need, because they're not terminating it within the time, the
Yes.
normal time clause, we have to approve the,
This is a
early termination.
approve and authorize mayor and chief administrator officer to sign Schedule A, notice of termination and agreement to waive notice period as provided by the county of Stellar, formally ending the Stellar Regional Fire Service Agreement effective December 31st, 2025.
That's
Well,
the
based on our-
resolution I'm looking for.
Yeah, based on, I don't even think there is an option 2 or 3, but
No,
any further discussion on that? No,
Who wants to put
Hearing
their name on
none.
that?
I, with that,
Leona will move that. All in favor?
Paul?
Yes, yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I'll make sure you're awake.
There you go.
I'm good.
Okay, then the next part of that is,
We have an interim joint fire services agreement received.
oh, good.
This is the bylaw or whatever.
This
is
is,
agreed by the county on
Yeah.
last Tuesday or Wednesday.
yeah, and it's kind of based on the old, and it's just, we made some minor adjustments so that it fits, and we just wanted to present it to you guys. It's pretty well the same agreement you had.
I think this is great, and it gives us that extra year to really get
Yeah.
a really good long term. Just a question, I didn't look back. How does the annual fee of 112 per parcel and the incident rates of $300 compare to what we have right now?
One right now is 51,000. Oh, yeah.
it was, basically the statement within
Stays the same.
stays the same, so it should all be comparable. They, agreed to keeping our rates the same for 1 year.
Okay, so these reflect the same rates that we have in our current agreement.
Correct.
That's
Which
great.
is based-
Okay,
Which is based on the calculations of the current agreement, and that is where we will get the 112.22.
okay. Well, that's perfect then. It's basically gives us a 1 year extension on the old agreement is kind of the way you can look at it.
In that meeting, Paul, there was a number of concerns, not only from us, but from them, from everyone that was involved, all the different villages. And we all agreed we all needed time to go through this. Plus, there is the possibility of, which is the next item, of this $200,000 ACP grant.
Yeah.
So that we can get the commission set up properly to begin with, and it just made sense to all of us. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
why these have come out the way they have.
Okay, it's an excellent solution. Well, that was great work for you guys to do that.
Put their name on it.
I will.
You're doing a lot.
Well, this is my committee, so
It's
that's
your
kind of
committee,
why I'm going, yeah, okay.
Okay,
Work hard.
ACP, the ACP.
now, was there not supposed to be a corresponding, a draft for, because they still need to form something to form the commission, no? I thought that still had to go forward.
Okay,
We have to
That
get
is
that
coming.
on
In an
December
umbrella
31st.
way.
that's gonna come. We just decided we had enough. We had a chat, all of us, and it will come. But right now, we wanted to get these things in play before the end of the.
That request can come through in our December meeting, because they just need it by January 1st.
Correct.
Correct, so,
Okay, as long as we're not kind of going, well, we're just
We're
gonna have a
holding out,
meeting
yeah.
and now we're screwing up the commission.
No,
So
we've worked,
So they,
John, I and Andrew all had these discussions, and we completely worked together to match our sheets
okay,
so that we would make sure that everything flowed.
and now yeah, so the next part of this, part 2, is that commission forming,
Correct, but we
which
wanna
we've
get,
agreed to in
Grant.
principle,
and we want to get the grant.
but we've agreed to in principle.
yes.
We just haven't formally agreed to in principle in council yet, so that should come forward in December.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I didn't want to lose.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right now, you have an agreement now that you're
yeah,
authorized
we're
with Heartland.
correct.
Yes, so they will service us for the next year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now this is, next one is a proposal to approve the submission of a joint grant application for the
Yes.
framework and
Yes.
governance study.
Yes.
Is that does that grant have cost implications, or is it a grant 100%?
It's 100%.
Okay, so, and that will be applied for by the county?
By the November 2025 deadline.
The Roshan Sands and White Sands CAOs are collaborating with the Stettler County. We will be the managing.
Does Big Valley
All
and
the meeting, all three, or White Sands will?
We will be signing as managing partners because you need, it's, if you get too many applications from one municipality, it's not gonna work very well.
Right.
So we said we would do the signing on this side of it. The county is still working on the other parts for us. 'Cause they have more stuff.
Okay, so it's still a joint application,
Correct.
and then we'll.
Just, I was wondering who's doing the paperwork, and so.
County is, but
The
there's.
County's
group is
gonna-
still-
The group is going to, county's
Okay.
going to help with all the numbers and the paperwork, and we will sign everything off after review.
Okay,
but with
Okay.
with Roshan Sands and White Sands being the managing partners for this grant?
Correct.
Okay. Question I've got is just I'm sure everybody would be in agreement with it, but do we need to get express agreement from like Big Valley and Denalda for us to proceed with doing this?
The intent of the application is to include all of the municipalities, so they will be part of this. That was my understanding at the beginning.
Yeah.
Is that Denalda, Big Valley, Roshan Sands, White Sands County, and was there another one?
no.
No, that's it, just 5. All 5 are gonna go in on this application.
Yes,
Okay.
so the resolution is the council will approve the submission of a joint Alberta Community Partnership Grant application for the Regional Fire Services Framework and Governance Study with the summer villages of Roshan Sands, White Sands serving as joint managing partners for the project in collaboration with County of Stettler and the villages of Big Valley and Denalda. And further, that administration be authorized to finalize the application and submit it prior to the November 28th deadline.
Okay.
Want to put their name on that?
I will.
Okay, so then moving on to the CAO report.
No,
No, there's them boards.
Our reports.
You're first.
Okay,
Get on this for.
oh, let's have a little break.
Thank you.
Yeah, a little recess.
Are you good with
All
that,
right.
Paul?
Okay,
Your,
we'll come back at
11:30.
that was on that expense
what,
report.
15 minutes. Okay, 11:30.
Keep you
Okay.
on.
Sounds good.
Alrighty,
Okay, going back in,
Minutes.
11:28.
11:28 back in. Okay, and we were about to do the CAO report.
No, council
Council
report.
report. Sorry, council report first. That's just the one I have in front of
And
me.
so usually Paul puts in a report that.
I didn't see Paul's report,
Paul
so
sent it- Paul
I
sent a-
know. Didn't send one in this month.
there you go. I only have one, and that's the emergency services training. I felt that was a good training, and we had a good group, big group, lots of questions, lots of information, lots of stuff we didn't know about.
We have 2 October 30th joint meeting with Roshan.
Oh, right, October 1. I thought, yeah. So that was good. We learned a few things about declaring a local emergency and what the criteria were and what they weren't, and what level the province gets involved, at what level, what does that mean? And it's not just, not just to get money from the province, it's actually how to deal with that. We do have we have a bylaw, and we have delegated some of that to Clint. And he, in the event of, we have input, but we won't be leading the response. It will be an emergency services. What's his official title? I can't recall off the top, but anyway, it is someone that's very well trained in it, and there is opportunities for the counselors to get trained, to get further training on it, and some of that was recommended, just on how to deal with anything from a fire to flooding to whatever. But that was good. And then the second one was the meeting with Roshan to talk about fire, and that was a closed meeting, and that was very useful as well.
November
4th was the date?
No,
What did I miss?
October 30th, the joint meeting with Roshan.
Oh, and then
And
we
then
had
November 4th.
November 4th with the county.
Based on your resolution.
Based
Your
on
October 30th.
Yes. And that again was, we dealt with a lot of that earlier, but there's been some real progression in how we're moving with our other municipal partners. I was quite encouraged by all that. It's a real positive feeling moving forward, and yeah, encouraged. Next is Leona.
Okay. The exact same meetings as Dan, so joint 30th, the closed meeting with Roshan, Summer Village of Roshan Sands. November 4th, the meeting at the county office with the proposed fire commission. And I just want to say a couple things on that. One, thank you very much, Melissa, for all the work that you and John have been doing on that. Two I too was very impressed with the openness and the ability to answer things like, what is the base cost? They were very upfront and forward with that. So there was lots of cooperation, very open and honest, and nobody got upset. Oh, gee, what's this? Yeah, okay, that's a concern here too. And so I'm looking forward to dealing with that. November 7th was the emergency services day meeting that we went to. Melissa, they talked about those courses, like the 100 or 101 courses.
Yeah,
The ICS courses. Are those available to counselors to take, or would it be worthwhile taking?
If you wish to be on an incident command and be a part of that team,
I did up to 200. It's been interesting. Then when you have Clinton, and Clint just did 100 with me, it's just really introductory. It's a one-day thing. I just did the 200 in October.
Okay.
But with Clint and Ivan on there, and they've both done big emergencies, it's been really interesting. And then in 200, you do a little bit more work on the planning, like with the ICS plan that you implemented, what's the word I'm looking for? But there's not qualifications, another one. Anyways, but this is what needs to be done in this emergency. It was really good. It's a good 2-day course.
It costs
Free.
attached.
Oh, that was free.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think
and
it
it's
was free.
because as part of the incident command, all municipalities must train their staff on it. to a point,
Right.
you have to.
But
have
if a
it.
counselor wants to take it, is there a cost?
I would have to check with Clint.
Can you find out about, cause I'd at least be interested in taking the 1 day
The one,
course.
Yeah, I've taken the 100 and 200 level training as part of my a previous job that I had. And I would certainly say that the 100 level course could be applicable to us as counselors. Certainly give like an overview of just how the whole incident emergency response process works. The 200 is starting to get into a lot more detail for, people that hold specific positions within the emergency response. I would think that that would probably be more than we need as council. And then it goes on to 300 and 400 level
Yeah,
ones
those
are
are,
great spec, but the 100 level course, which is just kind of like a half day or a 1 day thing, it's good knowledge. And then you kind of understand how all the pieces fit into it and where we would
well,
fit in.
because we're on that joint committee where all 3 of us are there, it would give us a better understanding of the decisions that we're making that day too.
Yeah. And helps to clarify what swim lanes we need to stay out of too in an emergency, which is important as well.
Exactly. Okay, we can get some information
So,
on
yeah.
that. I
Yeah,
would
I'll
like that.
gather some, cause it can be done online too, so
Yeah,
I'll double
But
check on that.
I kind of like to push that one a little bit more for the online one for ICS.
So I'll check with him, because we
Yeah.
usually have to go through emergency management anyway to get registrations and stuff, I think.
Okay, no, that would be good. The Shirley McClellan Regional Waterline Commission, they're having a hell of a time. Now I've got 2 meetings, 2 notices of 2 meetings, one in December 15th and another one the end of December sometime. I don't know.
They can't get.
They can't get it together, so I don't know. Well, I'll make it there when I make it there.
I think it's a lot of partners in this, and it's getting everybody.
everybody's agenda.
Well, and it was also timing. They timed it all during just prior to the election and then just after the election when both the Alberta municipalities and the rural municipalities conferences were. So
Yeah.
everybody was gone. So they weren't thinking of what the other responsibilities were for those councils. So unfortunately, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Paul,
Okay, for me, I don't have too much, so I didn't submit a written report this time as well. Kind of the same joint meeting with Roshan Sands on the fire protection, which was really good and great to see what you guys have accomplished since then. So that's wonderful. I wasn't able to make it up for the in-person training for the emergency training. I did complete that online though, so that's complete as well. And that's really all that I've really had. It's been not too much since the last one, with a couple weeks that I lost with my health issues and all that as well. Coming up, there is Housing Authority meeting this Thursday as well this week. There was a Ambulance Authority meeting that's popped up, leadership briefing on the accreditation process. I don't have more information on exactly what that's about, but I'll attend that. And then first few weeks of next month, there's also the annual organizational meeting for the Ambulance Association. So a couple of those meetings coming up in the Housing Authority, and that's all that I have.
okay, any questions on any of those reports? Okay, motion to accept as presented,
Yep.
approved.
Yep.
On to the now.
No, CAO.
Good Lord, yes.
Okay, I provided a written report. Do you want me to summarize, or is there any questions? Cause there's a lot in here, so.
I just had one question. You had something about the road grading, that there was some people that were doing their own or something like that. And then the request for the tent.
So we completed road grading on the 28th of October. On the Township Road, Jennifer Drive, Buffalo Road. In addition to this work, Public Works has been completing regular seasonal maintenance, so I've listed that. All maintenance activities are scheduled and coordinated through administration and carried out by maintenance staff and contracted services to ensure safety, consistency, alignment with municipal operations. So if you were talking about the situation I put down.
Number 9, harrowing.
Number 9.
Number 9. So it was brought to my attention that there was dragging and harrowing work that took place on Jennifer Drive and Destiny Drive without authorization. An email showed volunteers were planning similar surface preparation near Jack's Pond earlier in the week, which I was aware of. To ensure clarity going forward, any work on municipal roads, it's just so that people understand we do maintenance. Some citizens may think that's enough, I don't know, but just, we need to follow certain guidelines, because if something happens, we won't be able to be responsible.
So somebody, I still don't quite
Someone who's
understand.
got the arrows to,
They went back and forth and up
Yes.
and down
and
and
Jennifer driving this.
because they felt it was too icy.
Rough.
They
No,
felt it was too rough.
And we had just graded on the 28th, so we were trying to pack it in, because we knew moisture was gonna come, right? And they did it prior to that snowfall we did get to give us some more moisture. So if it loosens everything up, then it's not packed in good enough, and then when you get the moisture on there, it's gonna create problems.
So I understand that on the roads, was the Jack's Pond thing just around the fire pit or was the whole thing?
Well, that one I was aware of, so that was
So
okay.
that one's.
Oh, that was okay.
So that
Okay.
is, that one
Okay.
was, shouldn't be on here then, cause this is unauthorized.
Oh,
So
I might have
the
just read it.
unauthorized, Jack's Pond was authorized.
Jack's Pond
but
was
the other
authorized,
two-
but the other ones
Okay.
weren't.
And so
Sorry.
you're just bringing this up for clarity in case we get asked about it?
Yeah, or
that-
if anybody, like,
Residents shouldn't grade or herald
Yeah.
the road.
yeah, bring it to our attention if there's an area that's bad, then we can try and figure out what's the best approaches, because there is cost.
So that's more for our information.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you had a second one, Leona?
What's the second?
I
It's
can't
farther,
recall
it was
this.
farther up.
Oh, tent.
Store, the tent.
Yeah, I thought that was agreed to. I must have missed something.
Who owns the tent? What is it used for, and why does it
The
need to be
tent
stored?
was owned by Deb and Ed and was donated to
The Hall Society?
the community. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
How big is that tent? How big is that?
That fold up or?
How big is the?
It's out on the corner there, it's quite,
It's about half the size of this table.
yeah,
Okay, so it can't go in that storage bin.
we already have ones in there.
We have our tents back there that,
We already have tents in there that are in metal containers.
What
the big ones, the big one.
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know.
there's
We've
some.
had this-
We have-
we've had this.
In
discussion.
in this, the garage?
Yeah, somebody
Oh.
donated and they're in a metal container. There's 2 or 3 containers there that have another tent. that's
Oh,
been
we don't
stored.
know, I don't know that the Hall Society knows anything about it.
They
They
do
do.
about that
Oh,
one in
about
there.
that one in there,
But
okay.
this other one was, yeah.
It was the one that was used for the curling and skating event in February.
Oh, the big kind of round one?
Yes.
Okay,
So it was stored outside of that little skate shack and it was getting weathered.
Yeah.
And it was, it was Ed, so Ed would take it and, I don't know, store it or cover it up or something, but since Ed donated it, the request was made, can we get this under shelter? So
And-
then that's what happens.
And so Dana brought it to my attention, and then I said I was checking with insurance, and this is the result of checking with insurance.
So insurance basically says that if it's not our property, we have, we're not really liable for it. It's somebody, if it burns, it burns.
did we accept the donation?
We didn't.
We didn't.
No.
Just,
I don't even know if it was made to the village or to the Hall Society. I don't know.
So if it's a donated piece of property and it was donated to the village, then it would be our property.
Right, but it wasn't donated to the village. We
So
don't
then
have
that-
anything.
If
So we need to clarify.
we need to clarify that, and then if it is.
Who is it donated to?
Who is it donated to, who's the ownership, and then if it is the villages, then absolutely fine. So that building, that blue building that's out at Jack's Pond, what is in that building?
Curling, hockey sticks, curling, brooms, curling, rocks, a little stove and some ice clearing equipment, some scoops, shovels.
And is there room in that building to put this tent or
No.
no? Okay,
That would basically make it unusable to be in there.
Okay,
It would
okay.
take up the
the whole
whole,
thing,
Could it go in that other building in here?
Like, where the table is?
where the
Where
tables,
the tables or
And
whatever.
chairs are?
Yeah,
that thing's full,
is it?
pretty much.
and that's why again, it's, do we have the space and who owns it? Like, whose is it?
I think it would make sense if ownership is the Hall Society, if we could do that. And yeah, we could certainly then agree to hold it. No,
So,
no liability accepted. If the village owns it, then we kind of have to manage the setup and take down of it and all that as well, which I don't think we really want to get
Correct.
into.
Which we don't want to get into.
Correct.
Yeah.
So assuming that the Hall Society owns it, would we be okay with storing it in the maintenance room?
The furniture?
No,
No.
back over there, in
No.
the cold storage.
I've got the insurance thing saying if it's not municipal, don't store it.
okay, so
I don't know, it's your guys' call.
there's
Is
two
it-
things that I want clarity on. One is, the first, I think an email needs to go to the original owner of the tent to find out what their intent is and to get a letter in writing as to who or what
It's being donated to.
is being donated to. Is it being donated to the village or to the Hall Society? The second thing I want clarification on is the Hall Society is amassing assets. I mean, they've got chairs, they've got tables, they've got, pickleball nets, all that kind of fun stuff. So from the insurance company, what is the status of Hall Society assets as
The
part of?
Hall Society, oh, this is where it's gonna get dicey here. They have insurance under us as a, what do we call it?
Not for profit?
Additionally uninsured,
Okay,
okay? So they are listed. The Hall Society as a society is listed under.
So as is their assets.
So the hall building is all under us, that's covered,
Yeah.
but that's why I'm having a meeting with the insurance company is because I don't know if any of that other stuff will be insured under us unless it's listed item by item.
okay, so we need clarity on that.
Yes.
If we can, because asking the Hall Society, and it may be that the Hall Society needs to get a separate tenants package,
Yeah.
possibly,
Yes.
which might be something that is very inexpensive, but it could be something that is required. So
Yes.
once we get the answer to those two things, then we can answer this request to store the tent.
So I think at this point in time, table this, let me continue the investigations. And then that way, we're not putting ourselves into anything until we clearly identify things.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second part of that, and it's not listed here, but the fire committee that has asked us to store that in there, and we've agreed to it. How does that now, because that's not Hall Society, that's not village, that is owned by other individuals, and it is in our, so how do
And
we?
they would have to have it-
involved in the same way.
But they
I-
would, if it's a motorized asset, right, they would have to have it listed under their insurance. So again, that's a point of clarification. We should have a letter of insurance coverage from the
From them,
owner
yes.
of that
Or-
trailer.
That's the what we need.
Or I think a workaround on it is, I mean, like, I don't think that actually storing any of these things poses a big risk. You know, they talk about risk of injury or things like that. I don't really think that, but I think we just need to be very clear saying we do not accept liability for this. If it gets stolen,
If our building burns down.
Yes,
well, if our building burns down, if somebody breaks in and steals this tent or this equipment, we are expressly not taking any liability to, guarantee the security of this. It's just, you can park it there. You can come get it in the spring or when needed. If something happens, and be very clear on it. We do not accept liability for this. And I think that gets around maybe in the interim. I think in the long term, the solution on that, but if we want to take the party tent in now because it is winter and we want to put it in there, I think as an interim, we can make a decision to do that as long as we're clear at saying no liability. and then we can get the Hall Society add additional coverage sorted out as a follow-up thing. But I think in the meantime, I'm comfortable throwing the tent in there, getting it out of the weather.
And are you gonna put time frame? Because this is, last time when I got back here, there was desks and stuff that weren't even ours. So I guess what we're trying to get clear with insurance and everything else is careful what you're doing, make sure it falls within the municipal. And understand that there needs to be a time frame. You can't have certain things sit as storage, but that's not what we are. We're not for storage.
Yeah.
We are for municipal
We
operations.
need to find out who owns it.
But recreation is part of municipalities' responsibility. And so far, and fire, both of those are. So both of those things fall within our mandate of the services that we provide to our residents. Deaths, how long they were in there, where they were from, I agree. We're not a storage facility, but the tent is used for the recreation of the village, and the fire protection will be used by the volunteers in the summer. So both of those things are reasonable to me.
Are
So
valid.
they're valid. So I think there's a difference between validity and just because.
Okay.
So what do you guys?
So I guess moving forward, we would like clarification from the Hall Society about the stuff that they own and assurances that it is insured under something,
Well,
or
through the
stated
insurance
that
agent, yeah.
there is no coverage, like we do not accept any risks. We would need to get that. And then I would say, you know, we put the tent in with that and the tables and chairs and whatever else the Hall Society specifically owns. And then we get a note or a letter to and from the owners of the fire equipment that we are, just saying that while we will house this for you over the winter months, there is no coverage, and we recommend that you have, or that you look at whatever coverage you have.
That we are accepting no liability
Correct.
of others.
Yeah, and confirm the ownership of the tent.
Yes, we need to confirm that.
3 motions, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, it's 3 recommendations. They don't
Yeah.
have.
I don't think that's just based on.
So there's no motion.
I don't
Okay.
think so. I don't think
No,
we need-
It's just
We
action
just-
I'm
items.
investigating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and then Canada Post, any idea, we're still looking at, fall and winter installation and then
They were just.
use in the spring?
They were just here and we're waiting for, they're trying to get their construction things, and of course, you now know there's been a new change submitted to the federal government, so there could be a strike. I can't give you any
Well,
guarantees.
if nothing else, it fits with the government's mandate to ruralize and push these
Yes.
things out.
They are looking at putting other mailboxes in the subdivisions. In the
Yeah,
future.
we're not the only ones.
At
So
the
they-
other like
Correct.
Bayside or
Just
Buffalo or
yeah.
whatever, yeah.
So like they came here and they took more, I sent pictures, but they took more pictures, and then they were going to other places.
They're gonna go to,
Like a.
It's like off of 601, there's 6 or 8 acreages all together there.
Yeah.
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 And
Plus
then
the
you got
Bayside one.
Bayview.
Or
Yeah.
Bayview.
So they-
Bayview on the countryside hasn't been done, up on the hill hasn't been done. And I think there's another one down on the other side of Rosham too. So that's their plan, is they're moving.
Okay.
They're gonna do a bunch
So
of
I think it
installation.
makes whoever gets the contract, it worth their while, hopefully.
They wanna get it done before it freezes.
Yeah. Okay, well, hopefully,
Still no frost 6 feet down.
No.
So,
still pending.
Yeah.
Okay.
and ONH reinspection. So
Yeah.
glad to see that all of that is moving forward. And is there anything that you need or from council, or you're just moving forward with all of the recommendations?
We're
So that-
moving forward, we're
Okay.
getting our training. I'm
There's some
just
health and
behind.
safety training.
Yeah.
for-
Yeah, we're gonna get Alan first aid. I just
Yeah,
signed
he's
him
gonna
up.
be gone for a couple of days to do
2
first
days
aid.
session.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Standard ES.
Yeah.
we're trying to find
Good.
what's gonna.
Okay.
yeah, 'cause she wants that one done when she comes, at least in the process, like having signed it, cause I think contact safety has it on the 9th of 10. She's supposed to come back around the 10th.
Yeah.
So at least if he's signed up and or is admitted it, she's fine with it. She just wants to see progress.
Yeah.
Too, which is nice.
Yeah. We moved ahead, we only have 3 things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doing good.
Awesome. Okay,
Okay.
perfect.
motion to accept CAO's report as presented.
I'll make that.
Paul's turn.
Paul's turn. And all in favor? Okay, passed. Where are we?
Calendar.
The calendar.
Yes. So, oh, there, yeah, for some reason I missed this the first time. I didn't see it. I apologize. So this is a calendar that we requested to kind of outline, you know, in advance of, hey, these things are coming up, such as the budget, such as the strategic planning. Those are the kind of, and then the regular stuff that comes out throughout the year and throughout different quarters, like the newsletter and stuff like that. So this was requested. I think it looks pretty good.
Mhm.
Is that kind of what you're looking at, Paul? Because you're the one who kind of made the motion.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
request,
Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted, just so I could say, like, you know, for example, the strategic planning that I've been kind of wondering about when we're doing that. Now it's right on here. So December, we can expect that we'll be talking about it, in January approving it. So perfect.
Yeah.
You know, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah, that's for information. We'll accept that. We need a motion to accept for information.
Yes.
I'll make that again since I requested it.
Yeah. All in favor? Oh, sorry, Leona, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to, because we talked about having a joint meeting with
Oh.
Roshan Sands a couple times a year. It would be nice to see that included in on here too.
Okay.
And yeah, run it by them and see, you know, maybe it's
Maybe they want to do it. I don't know.
it's a fall thing after all the, you know, a lot of the visitors have left and things have calmed down, and maybe prior to. So spring and a fall thing would be
spring and
good.
fall, I'm gonna talk with him and see what's gonna fit with those guys, because of course their schedules start ramping up.
Yep.
Spring too, so
Yeah.
I'll see what I can get from
Yeah.
them, and then I'll bring it back and.
I would, yeah, I think it'd be worthwhile
Yeah.
for a joint. Okay, yes, motion, what do we need in the motion? of-
Paul moved it
Oh,
already.
Paul
Yeah.
moved it and we
Yeah.
passed it, yeah, okay, financials. So we're,
So I have a couple questions, and this is just education for me.
Yeah.
More than anything. So under the revenue, general administration is, like, we've got quite a bit more in there than what was budgeted. What goes into that general administration revenue?
That one, would be, I'm trying to think.
Quite a bit in there.
Just put, like the MSI operating grant went in there. So that was 18 something or 17.
And it wasn't expected?
No, that was in there. Some of the other is investment stuff, because we.
this
can
is revenues,
project-
right?
Yes.
Yes, this is revenues.
Can you pull-
It would be interesting under revenue then to have investment revenue as a separate line item then in that budget. Because then at least you're not putting in general administration.
In actuality, in your next meeting coming
Yeah.
up, you're gonna have a breakdown, because you're gonna have to do an interim operating budget.
Right, okay.
So then you will have almost every line that we go through, we'll be bringing that one back.
But on a
Now-
monthly report, we will have it broken
Yeah,
down a
I
little
just-
further, I think is what Leona's asking.
We could,
Just trying to see.
Not really, I'm just saying investment revenue, isn't really general administration revenue, it's
I
investment
can-
revenue, yeah.
I'm thinking, I was gonna say, I can just bring back that whole section there so you can get it clear, but we're gonna be bringing that back anyway
Yeah,
in
no.
December, and that will show you all the sections.
Yeah, and then that way in the future, if there's this big of an overage, then you'd be able to say, okay, well, what did we
Here's-
put in there? What did we
Yeah.
put in there? Because then I'll
Yes.
have a better understanding,
Yeah.
so I just don't know what's in there.
I just, 2 seconds. Yeah, to be like MSI, we got paid in July, that was $45,000. We had that, so that's just the general.
That's pretty much all of it then.
Yeah, right, so it goes into like provincial grant, same with, the MSI. So
Okay,
those are the big ones. Cause it's like golf cart's not that one, that one's in transportation, so there's an influx in transportations because.
of
we
the
got
golf
that
cart
quick-
revenue,
correct.
yes, okay.
Yeah.
Because that's also over.
But mostly with the general administration.
It's usually like our tax certificates, our encroachment agreements, things like that, that we have a fee and service for.
which you would expect under general administration.
Right.
The only one is the
Yeah.
interest. The interest
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be under.
And grants, I don't believe should be under general administration either, but those are the two things that I would say, those aren't general administration, right?
Okay, so we can.
But
we can
it's
change
just
that.
a different line items, that's all.
Yeah.
Cause then it throws it out and it looks so, and I didn't have
We can
any,
make it another, like, it's a general, like, investments and grants, and it can come up that way too.
I would separate the two.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Where did you save the intern that we were working on?
I think it's the next, or in a working document, or did I stick it in next month already? Like, I'm not sure.
Doesn't matter, that was my only
Anyway,
concern.
just moving forward.
It's education, so
Okay,
we'll just go from there.
There's a couple of things we're gonna bring to you in December to help clear things up too.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Okay.
the transportation is a lot higher because after we passed the budget, then it was a golf cart, or no, we guessed low for the golf cart pilot project. And we actually did very well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
but then we
but
have
that is,
associated costs
that
too.
is general
That is
administration.
That does belong there.
And then the county, like for next year, like we'll have more golf carts with the county of Stellar's
Yeah.
golf carts too. So.
Yeah. There are things that we couldn't do. Revenue is a really hard one for us to project when we're trying to fix fees for service bylaw, things like that. And that's where we collect a lot of our revenues, right? So it just depends.
But
we'll have to break
the
that.
interest is easier to predict because it's based on what you have in the bank. So that, she's just asking to break it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that's all.
think that makes sense
That's all.
for
Yeah.
grants and interest to be broken into their separate.
Yeah.
Okay,
I had a question on the capital revenues and
Yeah,
expenditures.
so do I, Paul, we're just on the operating one right now.
Okay,
anything else on operating? We're good.
Other than at this point, until everything gets in there, doing okay, keeping with the budget.
Okay, capital.
Okay, capital. Paul, do you want to go?
sure. So just was noting that we're showing nothing for 2025 actuals for any grants. Is that all still to come in? And then the other question related to that, on the capital expenditures, there's some things that we put on there kind of as placeholders. Not really sure whether we wanted to do it, things like the electronic speed signs that we haven't moved forward on. Are any of these grants dependent on us doing work in 2025 that we need to make sure we get in, or what's our must do on the capital side for this year?
The biggest ones were the MSI, because we needed to make sure MSI and LGFF. We're trying to get the rest of the funds released, so we're continually trying to meet that 10% requirement. Dust control is under that, so that we got that going. Yeah, the other one, we've had problems with being able to do reporting because the reporting was down. So we couldn't even apply on their end for the CCBF, because they got a bug of some sort. I can't tell you what it was, and it just opened up actually a couple weeks ago.
So
making our
Paul's
application.
question then
Yeah.
is, each one of these grants then, are we in jeopardy of losing them, or are they,
No, we've caught up.
we've caught up, so we believe that we are gonna get these in, if not in 2025, they'll be pending for receipt in 26.
Correct.
So none of these are in jeopardy of being lost.
No, we brought that up to, now it's just getting the strategic planning, getting an idea of where you guys want to go and getting the projects aligned properly. And then of course, as we just said, for that one intake that we're postponed until next year, we're gonna have to balance that in here too.
I don't understand your response. So this Common Services federal grant of $60,000, how can we do strategic planning and then go back and apply for a 2025 grant? Was that not based on a project that we were doing in 2025?
Even if we don't get the project fully done this year, it's still listed.
Okay,
So
so
we
that
can still
grant was
do it.
applied for
Yes.
a certain project, okay?
Or was it a general one?
Or was it a general grant?
Well, it was for looking at this, if we need to cancel that because council decides during the budgeting that that's not something they want to do, then we can cancel that and reapply a different, and all that money will go to that.
So like your 5-year capital revenue, you'll switch because due to the budget.
Right now, it's locked in with a project.
All
of the-
5 of these are locked in with the project.
They're
Or
in the grant.
6.
2, 4, 6.
Yeah, they're in the grants. They're all in and applied for, so those money has been
Allocated.
allocated to it. It just hasn't been spent yet.
And have they all been approved?
Yes, you've approved.
No,
the
not by
start-
us, by the grantor.
Yes,
Okay, okay. So
yes.
these are pending grant approvals that we will receive money for. It's just we haven't completed the projects, so that's why we haven't.
But they've been approved through the grants.
Okay,
And they're approved for a specific project currently, but you're saying there could be potential for us to say, well, rather than that project, we want to do another project and move the grants over. So can you give us a
So then
list?
when you cancel this, those funds become available and you can move it to a new one that meets your strategic plan that you want to do.
So for our strategic planning session in December, could you inform us of what the current projects are that are associated with these grants?
So that'll be your capital expenditure.
We'll pull your whole capital plan.
Yeah.
because they
Right.
balance 205 and 205. So there's the projects, there's the capital expenditures. So water phase 7, drainage.
Oh,
So
okay.
they match.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So is it relatively easy to move stuff around once is it kind of an umbrella approval, or if you change from like, hey, I don't want an electronic speed sign, but I do want more, I want to look at the drainage, which has 0 in the budget. If we move from one to the other, would that be a problem?
You would have to take out the one application and then reapply.
That's what we do.
In
and then-
2026.
Yes.
And there's no potential to lose it if you have to reapply?
You would lose it.
Well, that
You have the
project
first approval, and then you just have to approve for the next part.
for the next one.
Like if you were to do drainage and you got the plans done and you're told this is how much it's gonna cost, then we would take it and apply, this is how much we're gonna allocate this much from MSI. If you want to use CCBF, we'll just throw that one there, we're gonna say that much money is gonna come from CCBF and just goes through the process, and then, the province and the federal.
But
government.
Paul is
So,
correct.
yeah.
If we decide we're not doing electronic speed signs,
Yep.
we lose that grant,
Yeah.
we lose that expenditure.
Yeah.
We can't transfer that grant to the drainage plan. The
Yeah.
drainage plan has to be a new
Yeah.
application and a new grant.
Correct.
So
Okay,
you can't
so-
just move it.
You can't
So if
just.
No.
Okay, but is it a use it or lose it then? Like if we go and say,
No.
okay, let's get those electronic speed signs in, we spend the money, we get the grant, then can we apply for that grant again next year as a new grant, or have we used up that?
Well, you will, but you've used up this set of funds, so you only get a certain amount, which I think is
So
13,000.
there's a max cap.
That's right.
You're supposed to spend, you're supposed to do a minimal, especially the LGFF, you're supposed to spend a minimal of your grant. So we're supposed to get $76,000 a year.
And we must spend 10%.
Yeah, so we spent the sander and what's the other one?
The truck is in
Vehicle. The
there,
Yeah.
trucks in.
and the dust
So we
control.
spent our,
We've
essentially
done it.
10%.
Yes. The problem with the CCBF is it has to be construction, has to
Shovel in
have
the ground.
shovel in the ground. That one's a little more difficult.
So for us, you guys are really clear on what these things are and what projects are attached to it. This doesn't necessarily always, so just like you've got that strat plan with here's what the budget is, this is what's been applied for, this has been approved, this is what's been expended, this is still pending, or we no longer will be doing this budget.
Correct.
A chart like that would be really helpful in this capital section.
Okay.
Maybe not every time, but maybe 4 times a year, especially before budget and strat planning, so that we at least know, okay.
Yeah.
Street signs is not gonna happen, and so that's just an in and an out, and we're not gonna do it.
Yeah, so that's just your capital budget.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that pops out at me that kind of is an irritant is electronic speed signs. I know that was brought up. I don't ever remember this council or the previous one ever approving it as part of the budget. And I know that, maybe we needed the placeholder, but
It was part of your capital plan back in May or April.
that somebody approved?
We
That
did.
you also approved. Yeah.
Oh.
It's part of
But
your
we
capital
kind of had it in
plan.
mind
It's
as
the biggest
Yeah.
item here, and it's the biggest item here, and it's like, I don't.
But we
I
haven't
kind of looked at it
decided on
like it was a placeholder of, we wanted to have
Yes,
something in there. We didn't really have anything else firm because we hadn't really gone through the strat planning with the change in council last year.
Okay,
So
so
we
it was,
just kind
it
of,
was more of a, I guess that's my point. It's more of a placeholder.
yeah.
Well, it's the natural dynamics that we have no choice because the province has said we must do a 5-year capital plan, but you guys approve based year to year. We gotta keep extending it out and you have to have something built in there.
It's a
Now-
placeholder then. That's the definition of a placeholder.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I
But we
want.
are trying
Thank
to
you, Paul.
move towards also looking at what's replacement of our equipment that we need to be
Yeah.
Yeah.
putting in,
Absolutely.
because those haven't been taken care of.
So this $60,000 grant, but you told me that all these grants been applied for and
No,
approved.
we haven't done this year's stuff this year. Well, partly because they've been down, but we haven't gone and done an application either.
The electronic speed sign was the
confused.
okay, the electronic speed sign one was because we found out through the CCBF that would qualify if we constructed them right in. Couldn't be a mobile one that you move. It has to be installed sign that has like the solar, it's the electric, it can read the speed and it'll tell you whether you're speeding or not,
Yeah,
slow
I
down.
understand.
Yeah, I understand that, but so this has
But this
never been,
one couldn't be applied because they went down.
But
Their
we-
site went down, but it's still listed as part of a filling thing. We haven't been able to apply.
okay. So that's where that chart would then tell me, no, we didn't apply for this grant because of this reason. So then your placeholder makes more sense. And we can do a 5-year capital budget plan. It's just part of the strat planning is
That's
all
right.
that it is.
That's right.
And so, yeah, okay. All right,
Okay, anything else on?
yeah, I do have one other one.
Yeah.
So provincial grants, those have all been, so the other question that I did have, and again, this is education on my part. So,
Yep.
so far you've got, under Parks and Rec, playground equipment, $10,000. We budgeted for that. Based on the budget, that's how you come up with your municipal taxes, right? So in our budget, we've got a $10,000 allocation for capital for playground equipment that we haven't expended anything on, but we've collected property taxes on it.
No,
No?
no,
Okay.
no
So
property taxes. This is all grants.
this is all grants.
No property tax.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
That's the
So
difference.
capital
Okay.
revenue is all grants.
Yeah.
Okay,
You're
so
fine.
then where do the capital expenditures that are not grants, where do they show up?
We haven't had any like.
We haven't had any yet, and that's
No.
where council will be having with your strat plan and going through your budgets. You will, if there is something that has to be covered by taxes, which is like a grant that
We did
only
like
does
a
30%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The 30% the municipality has to pay. Normally what we do is we will look under the other grants to see if there's a way we can cover that 30% either through MSI, LB.
LGFF.
okay, so I
Yeah.
understand that now, and I understand that there's no capital in the
Yeah.
other side, which I think we do need to take a look at. And then coming out of that is, so if we do get a grant, we do get a Parks and Rec provincial grant, which is I'm assuming the last two, the 2/6/20s.
Yeah.
We do get that grant. To me, those should go in a separate reserve.
That are
Specific,
tagged to that
that
grant.
are tagged to that grant, that are tagged to that Parks and Rec. And that's the only thing, we can't take that grant money and use it elsewhere or for anything else. It has to go towards recreation. And is that the process?
you repeat that for me? I'm gonna try and get this clear in my head.
So you get the Parks and Rec provincial grant for 20 grand.
No, we don't get a Parks and Rec provincial grant.
It
Well,
just
it's up
like-
there, it's up there,
It's
it's
like
20,000.
It's just a code that we are using.
Well, wouldn't you have had to apply for it under,
It'd be like your MSI and your CCBF, that's where we put the grants when they come in, which.
So you're saying out of the MSI, we're gonna allocate 20,000 towards Parks and Rec?
If
What?
we do it, yes,
Yeah.
that's where it's gotta come out of, because we still gotta code it in as an expense, and then the accounting comes into play where.
So the MSI grant you get regardless. Like you get the MSI grant, period, it's based on a calculation, and then you as a municipality or us as a municipality decide where it's gonna go.
Based on the approvals that the government has given
And
us
so
on
then
the
then you have said, okay, out of that MSI grant, we're gonna take $20,000 and we're gonna put it to Parks and Rec. And I'm just using Parks and Rec because
Yes.
it's easy for 20 grand. So then my question is out of that MSI grant funding that you've allocated $20,000 towards Parks and Rec, would you not take that 2025 allocation and put it in a Parks and Rec reserve? Even if it takes us a couple years to extend it, I don't know how long they allow you to extend that MSI money.
Well, MSI is done, so we need to spend what's left,
Yes.
right? Cause LGF has that.
This is all part of the budgeting process, so
Yes.
I think I need to get some clarity on this, because to me, if this is a pie in the sky, maybe yes, maybe no, what use is it of to me? But if it is money that we do have and we can expend, and it's okay to move it forward for a year or two, then now I'm looking at reserves and saying, okay, why isn't that money specified in a reserve? So
And a lot of it, I hear what you're saying, now, I got it. So, the government makes you a promise annually, right? And they've got their formula, and they say, okay, this municipality is gonna get this amount of money based on this formula, we know that we have this allocation for this municipality, and to release those funds, we must at least do 10% of those funds to get the money
Yeah,
into
which
our
I
bank
under-
account to
which
hang
I
on.
understand, yeah.
So we know that. The thing that's why the strategic planning and getting into your guys' first budgeting process as the new council will be to get where you guys want us to direct these funds and the projects for the community in a whole, and where you want to take it. So that if there's a bigger project that's going to take more than, which, projects aren't
Yeah.
cheap.
More than 1 year.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
then if you've got a project that is like 100 and some thousand, we know we need to have 2 years of MSI to be able to cover that. So then we can start balancing that with those projects and getting the approvals and starting to get the groundwork for those.
And get the reserve
so
funding.
my
put aside.
my question is, if you've got this capital revenue and you've got them allocated in Parks and Rec and water and transportation, if you decide that you wanna redo, put some more roads in or something, and you only have 50,000 and it's gonna cost 75, can you move it from water to transportation or from,
If
you know-
you wanna say, you know what?
like, how
we haven't-
arbitrary are these?
We haven't spent playground equipment, parks and trails, we haven't really come up with a plan. So we have $20,000, we wanna move it to this one,
To roads?
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in your planning and your approvals, you will decide that you wanna take those off and reapply for this project.
So it is a reapplication is what I'm saying. It's not as easy as moving it from, these are not just 6 pots of money that we can arbitrarily move around. If we don't have it designated as a Parks and Rec, and who designated this?
No,
The
that's our
province did?
code, whatever, say that playground equipment was,
So is this 205 MSI money? Is that all MSI money?
CCBF, I think.
and
maybe.
CCBF.
What's CCBF?
Can they, oh, God. hold on.
Federal.
It used
It's
to
a
be
federal one, it's
like
like.
federal gas tax,
Part, it's like,
Okay,
yeah,
what it used to
it
be.
used to be that one.
so you get $205,000 from those 2 programs. as long as you expend 10% of it, they give you the full $205,000. You guys, or council, simply directed you to put it into these different pots. Is that,
No,
Am I-
No,
because
she said the project.
Oh,
she's saying that they're tied to
No.
projects, so
yeah, it's.
so
And
this
this is
200
confusing.
And right now, it's previous council's decisions of the capital. So now you guys are gonna have a whole new thing and you're gonna be able to take that apart and rebuild it.
But these two should understand it. I understand me being confused, but these two should still know, no, we did approve $20,000 for Parks and Rec.
It's back in April. It's
Yeah.
for when we did your operating budget and your capital budget back in April, before we get sent up taxes, because you have to, there's April your budget, and then May would be your tax rate bylaw.
We-
So part of
we-
your 3-year, 5-year thingy, you guys approved it back last year.
We
Or
did approve it. I think my observation is, because council changed a lot and we were only in it for a partial year last year, we didn't do a full comprehensive strategic planning of our
Correct.
own stuff. A lot of it, some of it was carried forward from the previous one. Some of it was just placeholders. We needed to have something down. We put something down with an understanding that, as we learn more and as new council comes in after the election, it might change. But yeah, my main concern is not that, I'm fine to change it and come up with a better, we have the rec survey now. We got more stuff that we can put a long-term plan in. But I just want to, I'm just still a little confused on, is any of these funds here on a use it or lose it status that,
No.
if we don't proceed with the work here right now, then those funds are gone and we
Well, you
lose the
said that
opportunity to
60,000
have.
is fine.
No, it just goes back to the pot of the federal government. It hasn't been, none of these have been paid out.
Okay. Can I ask a specific thing? Can you send me, or maybe all of us, some specific education around how this is created and where that's the detail that we're
Yeah,
looking for.
we're missing, because
We'll bring
I see
back-
it as a pot of money that that the feds and the province gives to the villages. And then under those, because you're saying, well, if you don't spend it for this, it's gone and you have to reapply. But is it gone back into the big pot, or is it gone back to the feds?
No,
And then they can say no.
our pot.
Just
Like,
our
the-
pot.
Okay.
They hold the money.
There's what the answer I'm
Sorry.
looking for.
There's the
Like,
difference.
for like
There's the
your
difference.
Now, MSI's now moved to LGFF, right? We still have MSI money that needs to be spent, and we cannot use the LGFF money yet because it's been MSI. But anyways, it's still
a pot.
It's in the pot under Somerville to White Sands in the provincial government in their bank.
Yes,
It doesn't get paid out until we start spending it and making those applications, so we can receive those funds.
so we still have to make an application to
Yes.
use a portion of that 205 for building,
Yes.
paving a road. I don't know, call it whatever,
Yeah.
right?
The only time that we get ourselves and we have caught up and got ourselves out of
The
it
old
is
stuff.
the old stuff where we were being told, spend it or lose it.
Yeah. We're not,
Because that was MSI grants that
So
were 4
when
or
you're-
5 years
yeah.
old.
And we've caught up, but we're still behind in some of the MSI grants,
Okay.
and that's where we're trying to this strategic
Which,
planning
if you
is
go
so
to
key
the-
for us in this new budget.
And that information is key for us as well,
Yeah.
as we go through that
So,
strategic.
when
So
you
that's
go-
something that I would
Yeah.
like
You
to
go
see.
to the next page where I do my monthly rec, unearned MSI grants. This is still just MSI, you're still at about $214,000. LGFF, we have spent 31,000, but it hasn't been paid to us yet because we haven't spent the other one yet. And we're not allowed, we weren't allowed to put it, like the sander in the truck, the mini truck, into MSI. We had to do it in LGFF.
Yeah,
So we have.
So we have to spend that 214 before we get the 31.
Mhm.
and which in actuality, yes, the 31,218 is under the LGFF, but it is gonna end up coming out of the MSI grant money because
Right
we
now.
didn't spend it.
We just haven't.
Yeah, it's out of the money pot. That's all.
Yeah.
I just needed to know that there's a pot that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
That yes, we still have to
Yes.
go through the paperwork to
Either
do.
in federal or provincial.
Correct.
Right.
So CCBF annually, I think it's about just over $18,000, which we haven't applied anything for it yet this year. Just 'cause
But we
of-
can.
We can now, cause they
Yes.
just
Good,
don't.
now that the website's working again.
And are all of these grants, a formula of 10% or 30%, or these are 100%, these are grants, we do not have to kick in any,
We just have to do the
Correct.
application process.
So for example, the Jack's Pond thing. Like, okay, you take Valley Greens, and I'm just using this as an example, I'm not
Yep.
saying, yes,
Yep.
let's do it or whatever. So the Jack's Pond thing, that fits under one of those grants, the CCBF.
Yep.
So because
The
we're.
MSI would.
The MSI would, so we could feasibly say, okay, let's do Jack's Pond under
Yes.
MSI and pull that money out of there, and it doesn't come out of reserves, and we're good to go.
Yes.
Hey, all right, we just,
Plans.
Plans,
Well,
that's the key.
But-
well, it's not
Whereas-
just plans, it's understanding, it's
Yes.
understanding what we
Yeah.
can do and what we can't do.
Yes.
And that's where this doesn't give me enough information. And so there needs to be some other document that follows some of that through, that gives us information that says, no, we're not gonna do electronic signs, but I can take that electronic signs, I can reapply under MSI for Jack's Pond and move it and take it out of there, rather than
Yes.
the electronic signs. So again,
so we didn't lose it. By
No,
not putting in the sign, we're not losing it, we
Just go back.
reallocated, but when you say reapply, that's
I'm
the thing that
thinking-
was freaking us out.
I'm thinking-
no.
I'm
Yes.
thinking we have to
Well-
reapply to the feds or the province,
See,
no,
this
we
is-
just have to reapply to ourselves.
You guys give us the policy and the
Yeah.
direction and the budgets and.
Reallocate is the
And then
better
I'll need
word.
It's better.
Do
word.
the application.
Reallocate
Yes,
is a better
thank you.
word.
Reallocate.
Reapply.
I just know when I go in the system, cause we have to do like the reporting of it every year, like, okay, so like the truck one, oh no, cause we had it for 2024, we didn't spend until 2025, so when I did my SFEs for 2024, I had to say it's incomplete.
Yes.
And
So
so it
that-
wasn't to this year, and then this year when I do it, I get to say, now that's complete,
And it goes back to the 2024 funding.
yes, I think.
Well, it'll come out of that.
Come out
Out of the
that they have
original,
approved.
Yeah.
Perfect,
yeah.
perfect,
Yes,
okay,
cause it was.
so,
Okay,
yeah, it's just a reallocation, it's not a
yeah,
reapplication.
yeah, thank
That's
you,
right.
that was the word that was freaking me out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Paul, do you have anything, any questions, as clear as mud?
No, that's helped to clarify it a bit more. Thanks.
Okay, I wasn't the only one confused, okay, perfect, thank you.
Okay, so now,
Thank
do we need a motion to accept that one?
Well, we can do
No,
all
we can
three.
do them all three.
All three.
Okay, so last one is the bank reconciliation. Any questions on that?
No.
Seems to be pretty good. Did we ever get, I thought we had asked for some
We are gonna
detail
bring
on
that-
the restricted.
We are gonna bring you back some stuff in December as part of the interim and all that stuff, cause we want you to be able to.
Yeah, the
Take your-
restricted and the general
And the
reserve
general.
and all, cause there's so much in that general reserve that it just, we need to identify.
Well, and the restricted too.
Yeah,
We
and the
don't know.
restricted.
What is
I've been
that?
doing some digging, we had, our accountant was in and we had our helper. And she was, guiding us through some stuff and we've already been working on a.
So some of
December
that,
plan.
Good, good.
some of
good.
that would have come from previous lands that were subdivisions.
Yeah, like, you'd be like,
They have to
the
promise
buffer.
green space, or they have to promise roads, or they
Yeah,
have to
yeah,
promise.
Or it's infrastructure, exactly what.
And it's very okay, so we will
drainage,
know
whatever.
that
Yeah, yes.
for our
Flood
strategic planning in December, we will know what the three pots in the public land reserve, what.
You
they
were
are
gonna
considered.
have this brought to you in your next council.
Perfect.
Okay,
So that we can get it.
Doesn't actually need to be in the next council, but we do need it for that strategic planning.
Yes.
Yes.
okay, okay, so
So
that
now-
motion to approve all three,
10.1 to 10.3 reports as presented.
Yeah.
sure.
Who wants to put their name on
I'll
it?
put my name on that one.
Okay.
And all in favor?
Yep.
Good discussion. Okay,
Sorry, I'm so stupid.
no, it's, the rest of us probably didn't know how stupid we were, so this, that's, just made us way more intelligent.
Education process going
Well,
on here.
Well, it's a clarity for me, like I'm
Yeah.
used to dealing with black and white and clarity, and this isn't clear.
Well, and part of it
Unfortunately,
is,
We had this discussion too
Yeah.
about black and white, and I said, I wish politics was black and white, but it's not.
No,
It's-
but that's
but
okay,
there is ways to make it clearer, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what I think we're moving toward.
perfect.
Okay, residence correspondence and insurance advisory. This had to do with the cleanup. This is Jack's Pond.
RFD, yeah.
Okay, so what are we doing with this one?
So those are your two anonymous letters.
I put it as just insurance advisory, that's all,
Okay.
this is information. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
really an
So the
RFP.
insurance advisory is
Information.
what? Basically, we need to be aware of it. And
That's how I presented it here, is I received 2 anonymous complaints. So I dealt with it this way, it's just receiving information, here's some information on it.
I mentioned it, I do have a problem with anonymous complaints. I'm not sure, I just don't like anonymous. It's like, whether that needs to be brought to administration. We've had some, you know, I don't know how you forward an anonymous complaint, because it's like trolling on the internet. It's negative without any consequences of discussion, so you don't even have an opportunity to discuss it. So I don't know, Leona, I'll ask you more, when the town received an anonymous complaint, was it put forward as a written in the package, or?
If it's written in the package, then it should be identified as to who it is,
Or it's not included?
or it's not included.
Yeah,
Because we all get anonymous stuff every day, like somebody walks up to us and said, gee, I don't like this. Well, if you really don't like it, put it in a letter or
And
a
address it.
complaint form and address it, and then it can be addressed at
Or be a
council.
delegation, because that's your opportunity. to
That's your
speak.
opportunity.
yeah, I'm perfectly, you know,
Fine,
accept
really.
criticism and accept, you know, constructive stuff, but I don't know whether this is even,
Do we have a complaint form that gets signed? So I know the
Yeah.
town has a
We
complaint
have a
form.
complaint form,
Okay,
and
I called it the green form. Fill out a green form, send it in, and
I'm
it'll get dealt
quite
with.
fine
Yeah.
with, and for that, this is just information.
okay, accept it
And
as
moving
information.
forward,
And
we
it-
will,
And it is good information. It's
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
the discussion, because if those residents are concerned about that, around Jack's Pond, then
Yeah.
that's part of the discussion
Yeah.
about what we use Jack's Pond for,
but
right?
moving forward, please do not put in any anonymous correspondence, and if they wish
Well,
to bring it
yes,
to your attention, then they should put it in writing or come as a delegation.
Right,
So who wants to do that as information?
I'll accept it as information, or I'll move that it be accepted. All in favor? Okay. But good information. Okay, Heartland Regional Fire, that's just for information as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
11.3 is information.
7.4 was a request. Do
Okay.
you want it on it?
And what happened with that?
So,
They got their approval on Wednesday.
they did.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's based on the county's land use bylaw, and they got their approval.
From the county.
Yes, for their development, because it fits under their land use bylaw.
So the letter of support, did we determine whether it was to go to Stettler to support this activity, or was it a provincial grant?
I have no idea, and nobody, even in
Okay.
Silver Village or Roshan Sands, did not, they just accepted it as information, because they didn't have any more information.
So they did not provide a letter, Roshan?
No,
What's the reason that
nothing.
RW gave for a deadline of today on us?
Yeah, so I did talk to the individual, and the direction I got is that they were proposing this mini golf center, that it would go through the appropriate channels with the county of Stettler, but they were also looking for a tourism loan or tourism grant, that it would improve, and the criteria of that was that it would be things that would attract and serve
a larger
a
community.
larger community than just their own. So
Okay.
that's what it was for. So they
So then,
wanted,
you can do a letter of support in principle for grant funding if that's what they're looking for.
that's more, yes, that's what they're looking for.
I didn't have
Sorry,
that clarity.
And I didn't have anything in writing either. It was just a verbal, and Dan from Roshan had talked to him. I then talked to him, and it wasn't real detailed on what grant, but it's a tourism grant that they're applying for to put something in that would benefit the greater good,
Okay,
greater community.
so the village of, Summer Village of Roshan Sands at their council meeting only accepted it as information and has done nothing. Because to them, there was not enough clarity.
I think if you do a simple letter, simply saying, in principle, we agree with this because it will better the local area recreation development.
Enhance
Enhance
recreation.
recreation in
Yeah.
the local area. End of story. Thank you.
So that's kind of option one, right?
Yep.
So option one is that draft letter that supports it in principle.
I thought that worded it quite well myself too, yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, I do too.
And what's the difference in option
And
two?
option 2 is for grant funding application.
So I don't think we want that. I
Because we
think
don't know if they're applying.
we don't
for
know
it.
what that is for. We support it in principle for the development of.
Sure. And if you guys are good, we'll just print that off on letterhead and
Are we okay?
Yep.
Okay. Motion,
motion to approve
I can.
option 1
Okay.
letter of support.
yep.
How's that?
And all in favor?
Yes.
Did you get that, Aaron?
Because if they want us to jointly or give approval for grant funding, that's a whole nother thing again.
Yeah.
Betcha.
That's a whole nother thing
Yeah,
again.
no.
So
Okay, and
yeah, there you go. There's
I
your
think you guys
CCDF,
like that.
Oh, and I did look at it. Canadian.
Community Building Fund.
That one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to print that off because you rattle them off like so quickly
yeah,
because you're so used to them, and I'm
that
not
is
like,
something that probably moving forward, we either need to stop you and say, excuse me, what's that acronym mean?
Yeah.
Or we need to use less acronyms, because yes, I appreciate
Because
this.
This is really good.
I had a limited company that was the acronym for it was CCDF.
Oh.
Big. What is Canadian Commercial Buffalo doing in there?
Yeah. So we added this one because it was quite simplified and
Yeah,
it would
it's great.
be easy for council.
Okay.
There is a more in-depth one, but we didn't
No,
add
this
We'll
is
just
good.
have this, we should have this cheat sheet on the wall.
it.
Okay,
There is one. It's the ASBA and stuff.
ASVA. There we go again.
Use an acronym to describe, thank you.
But they did a bunch of acronyms for you
I
guys. And
know.
then there's a government one that was like 18 pages. We didn't
Yeah,
know
we
which
said
one.
one of
Yeah,
that. That's a
That's okay, good.
Okay, what do we need with the watershed?
My question is this something that you guys do every year?
No,
Do we
No,
pay
that-
into this
no.
every year?
No.
each
I'm not
council,
sure what it is.
each council makes their own decision and it has not been approved. And
Has it ever been approved?
not while I've been here, and I don't think previous, but I cannot verify for sure. But not since the
To
time.
be honest with you, unless there is a delegation or something that comes out and says, this is why you should be part of this, this makes no sense to me. This makes no sense to me for us to be included in it. They're talking about like watersheds, yes, that's fine, but they're talking more about water that is, we get our water from Shirley McClellan.
Yeah,
That's where we get it from. So
It-
if they want to be part of this, absolutely, but as a separate village, it doesn't make sense to me.
I can add a little bit of context to that, just from my daughter has actually had 2 summer jobs with the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance, so kind of learn from her of some of these things that these watershed alliances do, and there is potential value and interest for us. You know, Buffalo Lake is part of the watershed, and we are connected to it and indirectly. And, you know, I think in terms of things like knowledge and learnings about invasive species, you know, protection of riparian areas, that's all relevant to us as a community, even though we're not, you know, directly on the Red Deer River. So I think there is potentially some value of keeping, you know, some relationship with the Watershed Alliance, whether we actually pay into it. They're suggesting, you know, a per capita 50 cent, which would be like $100 at that, you know, requested level to help support their funding. maybe it's something to talk about, but maybe we should ask them to come as a delegation, like you suggested, to a next meeting and talk about what, what a relationship with them could look at and how it could benefit us in terms of providing materials for resident education on protecting the water. That's relevant.
Yeah. I'm okay with that, but I wouldn't say, we've got so much on our plate that in our own house that we have to fix for the next meeting. That like March or April, fine, maybe put it on the radar for the next
For the
year's
spring.
budget, but not, or even, we talked about having a general budget line item. If it's $100, it could very easily come out of there, right? But for right now, thank you for the information, but I really would like to learn more about it.
That's fair enough. Yeah. It's not something we have to rush on or prioritize by any
No.
stretch, but yeah, I saw that and I was kind of interested thinking, well, maybe some nominal support of it is appropriate, but that can be part of next year's budget cycle as well.
Well, and one of their things is, on the last pages, it says request a presentation to council and or staff. So we could do that in the spring. I would like to defer it to the spring, so, motion to accept the letters of correspondence as, or do we need to do individuals or?
I said move to accept correspondence items 11.2 to 11.3, 11.5 to 11.6 as information.
Okay,
You did a motion for the first one and for
11.4.
your turn, Paul.
I'll make that motion. I'm a little confused though. Do we want to do a separate motion to
For
talk to them about a spring delegation or defer that entirely till talking about in the spring?
It's just a council, it's just a CAO direction. It doesn't need to be motion. Does it?
It should be an emotion because that is my.
We can just make a motion as a lower priority item to line up a delegation for a
Hey,
spring meeting.
let's deal with all of them except for the last one then,
Okay,
as a
so-
unit.
11.2 to 11.3 and 11.5 as information.
Yep.
Okay.
And then with 11.6, motion to have, administration,
Accept his information and have administration contact.
correct.
To schedule.
to schedule a
some
spring date.
presentation for spring 2026. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah.
Does that work?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Then I get it on my
all
action
in
list.
favor of those? Passed. And with that, anything else? I didn't hear anything, so we are adjourned at
12:41.
12:41. Good, Paul?
Very good.
Keep on healing.
All right, we'll do that.